Welcome back to episode 195 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. My name is Josh. I'm here with Troy. Hey, Troy, how's it going, man?
It's going. What's going on with you?
You had a busy day.
I did. It was nuts. It was stupid. I was mad half the day, or most of the day. A lot of stuff with work. Then I had Minnetonka STP, which was just got kind of busy. And then more work stuff. Then a baseball game. And now I'm here. And now it's time to record.
No rest for the weary. Well, you've had a very, very busy day. Your probably energy is low, but we have no Phil. And so between the two of us, we got to try to somehow get, I mean, if we could get maybe to like a fifth of Phil energy, I think we would be doing pretty good.
Danny Healy! There.
Hey, do you think you could like totally go off on Eric Lindros today like Phil did for our ratings, Troy? That'd be great.
Oh, Lindros.
Don't worry, though, for the growing legion of Phil fans out there. He's going to be, well, Phil will be filling in for me again on Monday. I'm going to be gone because we have the big grad party this weekend. 500 plus invitees now, Troy. And all, last time I checked, 88% chance of rain all day.
Fun.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Did you now in that 500 invitees, did you send one to like Bill Gates? Did you send it to Warren Buffett? So you're supposed to invite those people because sometimes they just send like a gift basket or they'll send something just to say thank you or whatever, or congratulations. So it's kind of funny.
I invited Kirill Kaprizov and I'm going to have adoption papers with me so I can adopt him. All I want to do is drive him to practice every day and ask him about his day. That's it. That's what I want to do.
Make sure he gets there. Make sure he doesn't leave.
Yeah. Phil will be back on Monday. No worries. Tonight, well, weird space time tomorrow night, but tonight for you, tomorrow night for us. Game 3, Stanley Cup Finals. I'll probably be chilling in the Gong Show Discord again, hanging out with people as they're watching the game. Had a lot of fun doing that. So looking again forward to that. And then one last thing. I think you saw it. You might have saw a text. You were.
I didn't see this.
So I was in our domain management tool. I don't know why. I can't remember why. Checking out something, and there's, sometimes it's fun to search for available domains, right? I'm searching for different hockey card related stuff. Hockeycard.com is taken. That's a bummer. But then I saw that there's a cards domain, so I started doing a bunch of like goofy like. Hockey.cards.
Yeah.
Then I thought, well, Gretzky.cards, that's got to be taken. Because why wouldn't it be? But it was open. I bought it.
Nice.
For 2 years now. I have no idea what we should do with it. I hope you have a good plan, Troy. I think most businessy types would typically have a plan before they buy a domain name.
Wouldn't we just put a bunch of spam ads on it and have it redirect to our website and try to get ad revenue?
I did.
We have no ads on our website, so I don't know.
I did an Instagram story asking people like what you would do if you, in an impulse sort of way, bought the domain name Gretzky.cards. Very, very funny responses. Pretty sure all of them are like NC-17 into rated X and cannot be mentioned on our family-friendly show. Yes. Thank you for all your very dirty responses. I did get a laugh out of those. Okay, really quickly before we get started, because we have a lot to get into. We have no Phil, but we do have a special guest, so really excited about that. But before we get started, a reminder, the Gong Show podcast is a Patreon podcast, which means we rely on support of listeners like yourself to help us cover our show expenses, produce more and hopefully better hockey card content, and fund initiatives, even in a small way to grow the hockey hobby. We partner with Patreon. You can support us there. It starts at $5 a month. You can join our $199 support level tier. You get access to our Discord. Come hang out during Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals tonight. We'll be there, and it's been a lot of fun. There's been a bunch of people, and we just kind of BS the whole game and throw a little card talk. We had one guy rally, opened a couple of big boxes of cards during the game, so that was kind of fun.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get in tomorrow. I got to get in there tomorrow.
It's a good time.
All right, tonight.
Tonight. Very easy to support us. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com. Click on the Become a Patron link at the top of the page. Go to the Patreon website directly, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. There's a link in the show description, whether you're listening to us on a podcast app or watching us on YouTube. And then finally, there's a link to support us via our Instagram and TikTok profiles as well. All right, Troy, ready for the game plan?
I am, but I'm all thrown off. What special guest? Did I miss something?
I just talked to you about it right before we started
Yeah,
recording.
but there's nowhere in the outline of an interview.
I did. I updated it. You were coaching baseball. I
see nothing of the sort. But anyways, here we go. On today's show, we begin with the almost greatest NHL player to wear number 95. Then it's hobby deep dive. But this time we are deep diving a hockey set. Oh, and here it is. And that includes a special guest.
There we go.
It's almost like I wrote that and didn't even know I wrote it. Awesome. Next, it's hobby news, followed by a segment with us looking at the Stanley Cup Finals winners and losers from a hockey card perspective. And again, we're going to go ... so far because they're not over yet. Stanley Cup Finals are still going on. Then it's off to new product releases, and then we take a look at some of our favorite hockey cards in the current PWCC Weekly Auction. We end the show with personal pickups. Okay, now that this Gong Show's all back on track, I feel good about special guest time now that I see where it's at. And yes, you did tell me before, but I thought you just talked to her and we're going to add the relevant information into the show. But now we got an interview, so that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Previously, we looked at the greatest NHL player that wore the number that matched our episode number. We ran through all the numbers, so we are now looking at the almost greatest NHL player to wear each number from the runners-up in the Hockey Writers' greatest NHL player to wear each number article. Josh, the almost greatest NHL player to wear number 95 per the nominees in the Hockey Writers' greatest NHL player to wear each number article, and selected by me, is this guy, Matt Duchene. There were no other runners-up at number 95. As a reminder, the greatest to wear number 95 was Alexei Mrazov. Now, before we get into this, the Hockey Writers article does state the following. This spot will likely belong to Matt Duchene in a few years because Duchene has only been wearing 95 for the last 2 seasons. It will take a little more time for him to earn the top spot. Until then, Alexei Mrazov holds on with, get this, 219 career points. So from that, I'm totally convinced now that this list has not been looked at for a bit, or at least number 95 hasn't, because Duchene has worn number 95 the past 7 seasons since he was dealt from Colorado in November of 2017.
Wait a minute. Have we been doing like the greatest player to wear each number list from like 1973 this whole time, Troy?
I'm all flustered, but we're almost at the end, so I'm not even going to deal with it.
Yeah.
It does have an update date on the article, and it says July, I think 25th, 2023. So I figured, well, that's probably the last time they went through the list. I don't know. 95 seems like it's been a little bit lost.
Yeah.
Okay. So when this list is ever updated for number 95, Duchene is going to be the greatest player to wear number 95. But for now, we're lucky. He's the almost greatest, and we get to look at him. Okay.
Yep.
Josh, he's an overview. He's a center from Halliburton, Ontario, Canada. And when I think of Halliburton, I always think of the energy company that took everyone's money and invested it in a terrible pension plan and lost it all. All right.
Or a point guard for the Pacers, but
yeah, there you go. Basketball guy.
Yeah.
Is it Tyrese? Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Look at you, Troy.
I know my basketball. Wow. I think I have a card of him.
Pulling on the mic drop on the basketball knowledge there.
No kidding. Duchene was selected 3rd overall in the 2009 NHL entry draft by the Colorado Avalanche. Duchene has played in 1,056 regular season NHL games over a current 15-season NHL career. Duchene began his career with it's about 8.5 seasons with the Colorado Avalanche. He then spent time with the Ottawa Senators. Too bad we don't have Phil on. We could yell about Matt Duchene if they didn't like him.
Was he on the pizza line?
Yeah, I don't know what line he was on. Then he had a cup of coffee with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Next, it was 4 seasons with Nashville, followed by 1 season with Dallas. For his awards and accomplishment, 2009/10 All-Rookie Team, and he's also a 2-time NHL All-Star Game selection. For his career, 341 goals, 468 assists, 809 points. Duchene has made the playoffs in 7 of his 15 NHL seasons, compiling 12 goals, 19 assists for 31 points in 51 NHL playoff games played. Best regular season of Duchene's career from a point standpoint was his 2021-22 season, where Duchene had 43 goals, 43 assists for 86 points in 78 games played with Nashville. He also got lockjaw in this picture, it looks like. I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, hockey mouth.
Hockey mouth. Duchene has been a consistent goal scorer and point producer during his NHL playing career. He's also known for being one of the best face-off men in the game. I feel like we're getting a lot of those lately. Duchene has won more than half his draws in every season since 2010-11. So that's pretty cool.
Wow.
All right, here we go. Another great picture. Duchene has played, Duchene played the 2023-24 season with the Dallas Stars, where I think we can safely say he exceeded expectations and ended up being a pretty good bargain for the Stars, who signed him to a 1-year, $3 million contract. Duchene finished this last season with 25 goals, 40 assists for 65 points in 80 games played. Duchene will become a free agent on July 1st, so we will see where he ends up. I'm sure the Wild will sign him, and it's kind of funny. I thought that. I wrote that. I'm like, I bet the Wild go after this guy. Literally on my news feed, I didn't say it out loud or anything. Articles start showing up. Hockey Writers article on should the Wild go after Matt Duchene? And I'm like, here we go. Like it is. I'm going to will it into existence, I think, because we like to get those guys that are mid-30s, have had productive careers, come to us and then flutter out. So we'll see.
I think he skates too good to play for the Wild right now.
That's true. We need slow guys then in their mid-30s. Now, Josh, you notice I mentioned his contract. We're not going to talk about this on the show. I didn't see it in our notes, and I'm going to complain about it right now. Cap Friendly, the greatest website ever for hockey contracts, salaries, collective bargaining agreements, got bought by the Washington Capitals and is going private, I think, July 1st or somewhere in July. So no more Cap Friendly. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm panicking, but I read some articles that NHL's happy about it because they think all this information is proprietary and should not be shared with anyone. So
how do they get all that info?
I have no clue how they get it. I don't know what they do, so I'll have to see if there's another site out there that comes around, but it made me very sad when I read that this morning. But okay, back to Matt Duchene. Fun, interesting facts. Nickname, Dutchie. Makes sense. Duchene, Dutchie.
He's like really into the mullet and mustache look, huh?
Oh yeah, look at that thing. That's Barry Melrose type flow right there. I like it. Duchene made the Avalanche roster as an 18-year-old in his first year during the 2009-10 season. Also making the roster was another 18-year-old, Ryan O'Reilly. They became the first 18-year-olds to skate with the Avalanche. How I figure with that. That's kind of interesting, but I did try to fact check it, and it's right. Got his first NHL point in his first NHL game. It was an assist. In 2010-11, Duchene became the youngest player at 20 years, 10 days in Avalanche history to reach 100 points in his NHL career. I think that still stands, even though I know McKinnon was super close, or he might have got it, and I couldn't find an article saying he got it, but these are weird records. I'd have to calculate his age on his birthday, and I just didn't want to have time. Yeah. During the 2011 NHL All-Star Game, Duchene became the first player in All-Star Game history to be awarded a penalty shot when Alex Ovechkin tossed his stick toward Duchene on a breakaway. However, Duchene's penalty shot attempt was turned away by our boy Hank of the New York Rangers.
Hank.
On October 29, 2018, Duchene was one of multiple Senator players caught on tape in an Uber disparaging their then assistant coach, Martin Raymond. The Uber driver sold the video to a local newspaper, which published it on the 5th of November. The video quickly went viral, causing a minor scandal. Upon the video's release, Duchene, along with the other players involved, issued a statement apologizing for the comments. I do remember that. Very briefly, I remember that being a huge story, and then it kind of went away. I feel bad, but I guess there's probably no expectation of privacy in an Uber, so I'm sure you can't sue because you sign your life away probably when you agree to the Uber app and all the terms and agreements. But that kind of stinks when you think you're in a private spot where you can talk and you're getting recorded and then it gets sold.
Hey, Troy, Can I add a fun fact off the rails here?
Yeah, let's do it.
I was kind of curious because you had mentioned, we were talking about the greatest player to wear each number article and how Matt Duchene had to earn it in 95 because he didn't wear it his whole career.
Yep.
And so while you were talking, I got curious. as to why he chose that number, why he switched at some point. And so I consulted our friendly neighborhood chat GPT
What is
AI
all?
robot
Let's say.
and asked him, why does Matt Duchene wear the number 95? Can I read you the answer, Troy? Because
Yes,
it's
I want
going
to
to
hear this.
blow your mind. Okay, here we go. Get ready. Matt Duchene wears the number 95 as a tribute to the year he was born, 1991.
Fantastic. Thank you, ChatGPT, for your awesome insight. Oh, that's fantastic. All right. Matt Duchene, rookie card. There it is on screen for our YouTubers. 2009 Upper Deck Young Guns, number 203. PSA 10 pop, Josh, is only 88 with a gem rate of 32%. Now here, this is where it gets wild because sometimes I'm like, that seems low. Okay, it's an older card. Let me go to BGS. So I go to BGS. The 9.5/10 pop of this card is 267. So more than the PSA 10.
Yep.
However, its gem rate is 72% at Beckett. So you got PSA 10 with a gem rate of 32%. BGS gem rate at 72%. Something seems weird there.
You mean like grading? It's inconsistent?
Oh, yeah, it's
what you're trying to say?
inconsistent. What do you think?
Imagine that.
So the PSA 10 copy of this card recently sold on eBay and verified Terapeak for $43 on May 31st of this year. Only other sale in 2024 I could find was a sale for $95 in February. BGS 9.5 copies go for around $25.
Mm-hmm.
So 300 goal score, over 1,000 games. Will he get to 1,000 points? What's he at? 809? Probably not. That would be a stretch. But I would guess. I mean, he had 80 this year, right? 80 some points. So
yeah, plays for 3 more years.
Yeah, you can get it.
Values really fall off a cliff when you hit a certain point. This is more of an off-season type project. I don't know the answer. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. But if you had to guess, how many current active players have a Young Guns worth more than $100?
That would be interesting. I don't know.
Do you think it would surprise us how few, or that there's more than we think?
I think it surprises how few.
I kind of do too. I think we're going to do that for sure. All right, good job. Good to learn about Matt Duchene. At least I've heard of him. I'm like, who was it? Yannick Perreault. I kept thinking like Ross Perot. Remember Ross Perot when he ran for president here?
Can I get a word in? Can I get a word in edgewise?
Yeah.
Dana Carvey.
Yes. Okay, we're going to move on. Hobby Deep Dive Sets Edition. Back with another one of our weekly Hobby Deep Dives. Thought again, we'd change it up this week. Go back and deep dive into a set. Done a couple of we've done this a couple times now, Troy. I think our third one we break down. So here's a very quick recap of the 2 previous sets that we've looked at. You got we did Allure 16-bit in episode 177, and then 1998 Atomic Refractors in 179. Just like with every deep dive, Troy, we came up with 4 options, put up an Instagram poll, and that you guys decide which one we should cover this week. So the 4 options that were in our poll the other day were the 1998 OPC Chrome Blast from the Past, 2012 Fleer Retro Electrifying, 2021-22 Fleer Ultra Medallions, and then 2008, 2009 Fleer Ultra EX Jambalaya. And Troy, with 31% of the vote, Jambalaya, 2008-09 Fleer Ultra, barely. Another really close one. Yeah, very, very close one. So, hobby largely divided, Troy, and this is now the second or third time that Blast from the Past has not been able to pull through and take the W, which surprises me. I would have thought that would have been like a slam dunk this whole time. We've had people too recently say, when are you guys going to break down Blast from the Past? So we're trying, but nobody wants to vote for it.
Yeah.
So, it's just close, but it can't quite get there. Does that make Blast from the Past the McDavid of Hobby Deep Dives?
It's either that or who's the guy from the Flyers that could never get it? Bobby Brink? Brink. Yeah. He could be the Bobby Brink of sets.
Yeah, well, my joke gone wrong was that McDavid's not going to win the cup because he's going to get close and not quite get it done.
Oh, jeez. Shots fired.
That's right. Okay. So let's talk about 2008 Jambalayas. They were part of 2008-09 Fleer EX. There's a picture of the Wayne Gretzky there. This Jambalaya set, Troy, is significant because it's the first time hockey Jambalayas were produced. But these were not the first Jambalayas, as 1997 Skybox EX 2001 Basketball was the first set to feature these cards. The king of all Jambalaya sports cards would be the 1997 Michael Jordan, which I sold Troy for as much as $126,000 US dollars for a BGS 9.5 copy. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
In addition, well, including this set, 1997 EX 2001, there would be 4 total basketball Jambalaya cards, or different years, before the first hockey in 2008-2009. So in addition to 97, with where we have like the Jordan here, there was one in 2003-04, features LeBron in his rookie year. This one actually sold for more than I think this is the highest selling one, for 130,000 something.
Wow.
Next year, there's a set in Fleer EXL, another basketball set. There's another LeBron. And then finally in 2006-07, Fleer EX, E-X was the, looks very similar to the 1997 cards there. And because Jambalayas, Troy, are such an important card in the entirety of the sports card hobby, not just hockey, I wanted to start our conversation around the hockey cards with a sense of history. And sure, I could have done a bunch of online research, maybe consulted our very friendly AI robots who obviously know nothing. We've proven, once again, I'm glad I didn't go that route, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah, it would have been like, this card was created in 1953, and it's the most popular hockey card ever. Yeah.
Herbert Hoover. But normally, it's usually best to go to the source, right? So I thought, well, who better to understand the history of the Jambalaya card than the person that created it? Now, this is our special guest. So Jean MacLeod and her late husband, Earl, from Arena Designs and working with Skybox and Fleer, are the artists that both concepted and created Jambalayas back in 1997. Also PMG's Essential Credentials. We had Jean on for an interview a couple months ago. I highly recommend checking that out. And so I reached out to Jean, just thinking, well, maybe she would give me, a couple tidbits here and there. And she was like, oh, let's talk about it. I love Jambalaya cards. And so we set aside a few minutes today to chat about the creation of this amazing card. So we're going to kind of run through the history of it. And then when my conversation with Jean ended, you and I will come back and talk and get more into the 08-09 hockey Jambalayas. So we're going to go ahead and roll my conversation with Jean from earlier today right now. All right, we are very pleased and excited to welcome Jean MacLeod back to the show. Pretty cool that you're back on here twice for us, Jean, because we appreciate your work so much.
Sure.
And I reached out to you yesterday kind of on a whim because within our deep dive segment and the fact that our audience had chosen the 2008 Ultra Hockey Jambalayas, which were the first Jambalayas, of course. And as part of that, I wanted to do some history on the card. And I know while you didn't design, you were not at Upper Deck during the time when the Hockey Jambalayas were created in 2008. You, of course, yourself and your husband, Earl, had created the original Jambalayas back in 1997. So I thought, well, geez, no better person than to understand how this card came to be than going right to the source. So thank you so much for coming on in short notice and talking about this amazing card. Okay, so we're gonna get right into it, and of course, I explained. The backdrop is where we're covering this set 2008 from Fleer Ultra, but this card, the Wayne Gretzky, nor any of the other cards in the set would not have existed had we not started here back in for the 1997. It was Skybox at the time, right?
Yeah, it was the EX 2000 that it first came in. Yep.
And just want to kind of, like I said, sort of get the backstory on the card. So how did this card even come to be? Like was it based on this new printing technology that you guys had found, or a different idea you had? Just kind of curious the story there.
Well, I always found it funny. So Jambalaya was, we always tried to do a play on jam. So it was like jam session and jam, that's jam. And we did, so Jambalaya was always a basketball insert. That's all we ever did it as. So I gave it to Earl, I was working in-house at Fleer, and he was a contract designer. And I just gave him the name. He came in with this design, which I really liked. I love the graphicness of the type going up the middle like that. The colors that he chose, I really liked. And I love the die cut. And I had just come back from a design conference.
Okay.
And at the end of the design conference, they had this event where they had paper companies and foil companies and all that there. And somebody had this stock that was like this lenticular, very dimensional stock. And so as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh, I think this would be really cool on this new stock that I found. So we approached the company that was at the conference, and we were able to make it happen for this card, which Earl and I always love this card for that reason. Like, I love the design, and I think that paper just took it over the top. So I think it's the combination of the technology along with the design that makes that card.
That's kind of interesting to me, because now I get sort of the jam reference with Jambalaya, but given how like the stock came together and with the name, I'd always maybe wondered or assumed if there was sort of a like a New Orleans reference or a like a Mardi Gras, because it does kind of throw off that, and I
Of
guess
course,
any
yeah.
art, right? People interpret it differently, but it does throw off that vibe to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was always, you can imagine coming up with names for inserts.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a lot. Like you're constantly trying to come up with something new, and so Jambalaya just happened to be a basketball, what they thought of as a basketball term, but of course it was not. But
So when Earl had originally kind of concepted the card, was the background just more of a solid color, and then you were able to bring, because I can't imagine that would have he would have been able to even conceive of this paper because it's so unique.
it was a solid orange on the left and the green on the right. And
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I think that the interaction of those colors over top of that stock, we didn't know what it was going to look like. And then when we got it in hand, sometimes Earl would design a card and I would be like, oh, let's emboss this and we'll foil this and we'll die cut this. And then he'll get it in hand and he'll be like, oh my God, I didn't know you were going to do all this stuff to it. So really, he didn't know the stock that I was putting it on until he saw it. And then he was like, just the marriage of those two things.
Mhm.
We were both really happy with how it turned out.
Well, there's part of me too when I look at these cards from 1997 and not understanding like you would sort of the timeline of trading card technologies and how things advance, but it feels like to me that, or I guess I wonder if on a card like this, if it was sort of like throwing the kitchen sink at all the kind of pushing the boundaries of all the latest trends. And you have the die cut, you have the foiling on the card,
Yeah.
you have this brand new paper.
Yeah.
And I wasn't collecting avidly at the time, but I imagine this blew people's minds when it came out.
Well, I always try to think of the seating ratio, like how often you're going to find it in a pack. So this was hard to get even back then.
Mhm.
So to me, I wanted you to open it, you would get something and you would be like, okay, I know this is the card that I want to try to hit in this pack or in this case. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of times it's the combination of things that make it what it is. I think that had that foil not been there, I don't think it would be as successful either. I think, and we weren't even sure if that stock would foil because it has like ridges in it, and we were
Yeah.
afraid that foil would kind of not be able to go through into those ridges. It would maybe create lines. And we didn't even have time to test it. Like now we test everything, but
Yeah.
it just somehow all came together, and we were happy with it.
So
It
when was
does
the
look
first
like
time you saw one in hand, like a finished product then? Was it after they were produced or in packs or earlier?
after they were produced, but we would always get stuff sent to us before. Oh, I was on press for that. So I saw it while it was running on press. Um, but I would not have seen the die cut or the foil until after the whole thing was produced, and then they would send them to the office.
When you
But
saw
we used to go
one,
on press for everything.
oh, sorry, I was just gonna say when you saw one complete for the first time, did it kind of hit you right away where you were like,
Yeah, I
"Oh,
loved it.
this matter vision."
Yeah, I loved it right away. But because sometimes, you see a card in your mind and then you get it and you're like, yeah, but sometimes it's way better than you thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And so this card to me is one of those cards that I have a very fondness for.
hmm
Yeah.
Do you look at cards you design like time capsules almost? Like, is it impossible for you to look at a card like this and not kind of place yourself back at that sort of time and point of creation?
Yes. Earl would get annoyed because I always kind of looked at our cards as time capsules because they're so immediate. Like I like to do whatever was trending at the moment or a font that was really popular or maybe there was a new Photoshop effect and I would try to put that into cards. And to me, that is of that moment. And not every
Mhm.
design, like as a graphic designer, you have to think something could be on a shelf for years, like a package in a supermarket is going to be on there for years and years. So you can't do anything too trendy. With trading cards, you could literally, like you're saying, create a time capsule of that moment. And,
Yeah.
it's out, it's on the shelf pretty quickly, and then you're off to the next set. So it doesn't have to really, although I think some of these have become timeless, but they can also be very of that moment too. I mean, I think they're obviously 90s.
Yeah.
I mean that, but yeah, I mean I like that about it.
Sometimes like or I always like to listen to artists. I love and appreciate artists, and I've heard stories like I've been to like Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with musicians, and you hear like when they're asked about the creation of a famous song that we all know and love. A lot of times you'll
Mhm.
hear that the greatest songs like came together very quickly. Like the songwriter sat down and 3 minutes later has this
Right.
iconic song, and then other ones
Yeah,
they fight. And I'm like an amateur graphic designer. I stink, but I have to do for our show on social media, and I kind of understand that some designs come together really
yeah,
fast, and then other times you fight them and you
yeah.
just can't get the screen or the page to exactly match your vision. When it came to this card, where does this one fall? Is it one that just sort of magically came together, or did you guys have to workshop this and go back and forth quite a bit?
Um, no, I mean, he came in, this was his first design for it. Like sometimes he would come in with a design and we would say, well, could we do this? This was exactly the way it came in. So I think that
That's awesome.
the things that you don't overthink tend to be the best stuff. Like
Yeah.
if you go with your first instinct.
hmm
And back then it was we were such a small department. So he would bring it in. I would say, I like it. Let's marry it with this stock. And I didn't have to go through 20 approvals. Now it's a
Yeah.
much larger department here. I have people saying, well, what about this? And what about, it's not as immediate to me.
hmm
It's good in other ways, but I mean, it's nice to have feedback and hear what other people say. But back then it was pretty much what Earl and I wanted to do, we kind of went with our instincts. So,
When do you remember starting to understand, or now these are like this card is sold for over $100,000, which is crazy.
crazy.
But do you remember the feedback being positive right away, or did this card have to build in collectors' hearts over time, or how
Um,
was it received?
this one was well received right away, but not, I wouldn't say all of our most popular cards now were. So like Metal Universe really as a set was not
Yeah.
um, the way it is now. But this set was, I think it had a lot to do with there's a lot of great players in this set. I mean,
Sure.
Jordan and Iverson
Yeah.
and Kobe's in it. I mean, it's all great names. And then also the seating, it was hard to get. So some of that, obviously had to play into it.
Do you keep like any of the? I referenced going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame where you can see the back of an envelope that some ridiculous song was written on. Have you kept ever
Yeah.
like any sort of the artifacts from when you guys created some of these
Yes.
amazing cards?
Yeah. And that's my favorite thing to keep, even more than the final cards, because that's the stuff that is the behind the scenes stuff that means something to me. We have a lot of the original art drawings from metal. I have a lot of these files we still have on disc, but probably discs I can't even open anymore.
Yeah.
My computer won't even open, but I kept all those old discs just thinking like maybe someday I would want to try to access those files.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff means a lot to me.
You need to have a dinner party and invite me so I can look at all
Oh
this
yeah,
stuff.
you're for sure. You're excited.
Well, what's kind of interesting to me too, as we sort of now transition into our conversation about this very first hockey jambalaya, and
Mhm.
where I'm kind of interested to get your perspective is, and so you developed the set for Skybox, then you went on and did other things in life, and a few years ago you found yourself back at Upper Deck, who of
Mhm.
course has Metal Universe, owns the Jambalaya property, acquiring it for Fleer, Ultra, Skybox, whatever, right? How
Yep.
these brands have changed ownership so many times, it's almost
Yeah.
impossible to keep track. But here you guys are now, you and the whole design crew at Upper Deck designing Metal Universe, and you're designing jambalayas. So you've kind of
Yeah.
come, I guess, full circle on this a little bit. And my question, I guess my first one around there is, what makes a jambalaya card a jambalaya? So if you're going into a set and like what are like the quintessential elements that the card has to have in order to maintain that brand identity?
Well, I didn't realize that the cards were that they were doing a lot of retro cards. For years, I
Yeah.
didn't even know that was going
Mhm.
on. So when I found out about it, it seemed like what they felt jambalaya was the stock for sure, that it's printed on that
Yep.
lenticular stock, a die cut,
Yep.
and maybe just like the graphicness of it, how graphic it is. It's not, although that has changed. Like some of them have become much more ornate than they were, but
Hmm.
at least this one is very graphic still. Uh, to me, like I never envisioned jambalaya being anything more than 1 year, one insert.
Yeah.
That's kind of how, if something was really popular, even if we brought it back, it would be imagined.
Hmm.
And I think there's something great about always having something new, but there is something nice about having something that you're familiar with and maybe with your new player that you like. So
Sure.
I was always a one and done, but now I'm kind of come around to the thought that it might be good to have, to have something stay, something about it stay. So to me right now, I would say that stock is important. It doesn't have to be that pattern. That stock comes in a lot of patterns. And we have changed it up recently, a few different, because that's kind of like the beehive
Yeah.
pattern. Um, uh, and just, I guess it doesn't have to be die cut, but that's what people I think liked about the original was the die
Mhm.
cut. What do you think it means? What do you think jambalaya is?
Well, that's a great question. Uh, I don't know if I assume the font has changed, but it's more of a like a playful sort of
Yeah.
like a fast font, like if you're writing, almost like like there's a speed to it. It is that sort of the paper stock in that it's almost like a disco ball sort of. It reminds me of being in a club almost, that backdrop, and then it's really the cutout of that player on top
Mhm.
of that, and usually a full body shot from what I've seen
Oh, yeah, that's
in it.
true.
Uh, where I agree with you too. Well, I guess I agree, and maybe have had some concerns about the card too in recent times. Is that I love paying tribute to these players. I just never want to see it overdone, right? And so I think that that's a really
Yeah,
hard balance that you guys
yeah,
have to continually, because people are clamoring for jambalayas. But if you
yeah,
almost give us what we want too much, then
yeah.
there's a negative consequence to that. And I just never wanted to be confused with, like, what I like with what Upper Deck had done with the original Gretzky ones is that, I guess my preference would be to have one. But with a guy like him, you can do one in the Oilers jersey, you can do one in the Kings jersey and the Rangers jersey, and he's sort of a special case, right? Where there's
Right,
different phases of the greatest career of all time.
right.
But yeah, and I, I'm excited about this year's though. I assume that you worked on the 2023-24 ones, or were you back at Upper Deck when those were done?
No, I did. I worked on those. Is that the one where we had
Bedard.
the type that was kind of jumbled up
Y-
in the background, the
y-
purple?
Yeah, I think so, because that one has not yet come out, and we'll have
Oh, the new one coming out.
the new one coming
Yes,
out.
but Billy and I were talking about this this afternoon because he said, "What should we do for the next jambalaya?" And I said, "Why don't we give it a rest for a minute?" Because I agree, like it's kind of nice to not see it for a little bit and then have it be special again. So the set that I just worked on, that jambalaya would have been in, it is not in.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the next one coming up after. So the ones that are, I have to go back and look.
Mhm. Yeah, you
I'm
guys work
pretty
out sets so far in advance that it's hard.
sure
We're in this like weird
we
time
do.
continuum where you worked on
Yes.
stuff a year ago that doesn't come out 2 years from now. So it's like, where
Yeah.
then
That's what I'm trying to
I'm
think
just
of
as
right
confused.
now. Exactly. But the first one
Uh,
that we worked on when we first came back was the first Metal Universe Champions set that we did.
okay.
And that one I really liked. I liked the redesign of it because it was enough of a throwback to the original, but it still had a unique look. And Earl
Mhm.
designed that one also, which I liked it.
So was that a design that you had a while back, or was that more of a recent
No,
design?
no, yeah,
Okay.
he just did it at
And
that time.
I think too, going back to the Jordan before I let you go here, is, one of the things I want to bring up too, which I thought you had mentioned very briefly before we started recording, but it's kind of amazing to me, and a great part of this is that this was really uh, between you and Earl a collaboration, right? And so
Yeah,
there's that kind of aspect to it too, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what I love collaborating. And a lot of times as a designer, you're very isolated. Um, so in this case, yeah, we really felt as though it was the two of us coming together and that made this card special. Like I was telling you, I'm doing a painting of this because it means so much to me right now. So we'll see how that turns
Where's
out.
that painting going to live someday? Is that just a painting for your house, or are you doing it for a gallery,
It
or?
is. It's for my house, but I may actually bring it into my office here at Upper Deck. I thought
Oh,
that would be
wow.
a good thing for my office. Yeah,
That would be really, really cool.
yeah.
I know that this is like an impossible question, but when you think of like all the cards you've designed over all these years now, where does this one kind of fit in, as far as like your favorites go?
Um, People have asked me in the past what is my favorite, and this is always the top five.
Yeah.
So between this, I love that metal universe set where it was illustrated. That was just so much fun to work on, dealing with all those illustrators. But this is definitely in the top five.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna let you go. I know I caught you at sort of last minute, and again,
Well,
thank
I'm
you so
glad you
much.
guys like it.
Of course, I'm pretty much a fanboy of all your work, and so very, very much appreciate the work that you do, and again taking the time to speak with us. And I
Yep.
assume that you have a lot to do with the Is it the EX 2000 or 2001 release that's coming later this year?
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'll be hitting you up then because I'm about to go broke buying boxes of that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I mean, I hope, we're really trying to make it turn out as much like the original, which is difficult, believe it or not. Like, you would think it would be easier to produce those now. It's not. So,
yeah.
Fingers crossed,
awesome.
Everything goes great. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for having me.
Jean. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye-bye. All right, we're back, Troy. I want to thank Jean again very, very much for very spur of the moment, very accommodating. Came on to talk about amazing cards, and you haven't got to hear it because you were busy, but I know you'll listen to it in a few minutes, and I'm sure you'll appreciate it as well. Okay, so now that we know the history, now that we understand where these came from, let's get back to the 08 Hockey Jambalayas. The Jambalaya insert, Troy, is one of 17 inserts to go along with 2 parallel sets in 2008-09 Fleer Ultra. Okay. The most notable other inserts in the set would be the essential credentials, for which there's the red and green. I think coincidentally, we just did first time public sale of the Ovechkin red.
Okay.
raw out of 8 of 8, so the jersey number that sold for I think $6,000.
Yeah, we planned that.
Raw.
So good job.
Yeah. Actually, we didn't. It was very coincidental. So funny how life works out that way. Well, there are 20 players on the 2008 Jambalaya checklist. So I came up with a little highlight list. Well, actually, all 20 of them there. A lot of big names. Some kind of ones, when you look at these, like going back, you'd be like, oh, Heater's there. Danny Heatley.
So is Gabrick. Now I'm like, I know what I'm doing immediately after I'm done editing this show. I'm going to try to hunt
Madano too.
Yep.
Our boy Louis loves Mike. Loves Mike Madano. Timu, you got Mario, Gretzky, Bobby Orr, Gordie Howe, Messier. Who else? Malkin, Yager. Yeah, Johnny Toes, right?
Johnny Toes. Isn't Kovalchuk the guy that signed the crazy contract that got reneged by the...
Yeah. So pack odds to hit any Jambalaya card in 2008-09 Ultra EX was 1 in 864 packs. So with 20 players on the checklist, your pack odds to hit any individual player are then 1 in 17,280 packs. So these are tough cases. So for you to hit that Gabrick,
kind of like my Jack Eichel I hit out of a retail blaster 2 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, you did hit a Jambalaya in a retail blaster.
I did. Jack Eichel, baby.
That's pretty wild.
Skybox Metal of retail blaster.
So Phil, if you're listening, I know you are. You got to open up 17,000 packs to get your heater. Now, only 38 2008 Jambalaya cards have ever been graded by PSA. There's 11 PSA 10s. That's a gem rate of 29%. The card with the highest PSA 10 pop count is a 3-way tie between Bobby Orr, Joe Sakic, and Jaromir Jagr, for which there are 2 PSA 10s each. Again, very, very tough.
Well, yeah, just looking at the card, you can tell how tough these... I mean, just look at how all the things that could go wrong with the corners, the cut, and everything. I think, was it the LeBron? Well, yeah, look, I mean, this... You can tell the Jordan gets kind of like the whiting, and it looks like it almost dents in.
Okay, can you stop there for a minute?
Well, look at the LeBron. That's even like worse.
Yeah. Go back to the Jordan, though. I just know something really funny. So this is a BGS 9.5 if you're listening, not watching on YouTube. The great thing about BGS is they break down the subgrades. It does have a subgrade of 10 on corners. Corner.
Maybe the corner starts all the way... I don't know. Edges.
It's insane.
Yeah, that's
absolutely insanity. How that can
grading.
Yeah, grading. Again, the more you know. So Troy, card ladder sales history is kind of cool. We mention all the time. It goes back over 20 years now. So when I search for 2008 Jambalaya, I can only find 126 total sales that they've tracked on the secondary markets. Now, this isn't a math show, as we know, but that is an average with 20 cards in the set of only 6.3 all-time public sales for each of the 20 cards. That's not a lot.
No.
Last thing we'll look at is the top 5 highest selling of the 20 Jambalaya cards from 2008-09, with each of the top 5's respective top sale. And of course, as you know, all sales made via eBay have been verified as paid for in Terapeak. Okay, we ready?
Yep.
So number 5, Mario Lemieux. This was raw. Sold for $800 via eBay in May 2022.
This one has a corner. Look at that. Look at that cut right there on the right.
Mm-hmm.
It almost does. Literally does a corner where you can see it's nice and rounded over here.
This is the one jambalaya that has like an actual, not just kind of like funky, like what you'd call like fever dream design, but it's got the hockey rink in it. So
Yeah.
do you like that effect where you've got?
I like this. I think this looks really cool.
Mm-hmm. That's a nice looking Mario Lemieux card too. Number 4 is the Alexander Ovechkin. This PSA 9 sold for $1,560 via REA in December 2022. Number 3 is our guy Jaromir Jagr. The PSA 10 sold for $1,675 in the PWCC Weekly in November 2021. He's in the Rangers.
Yeah.
Anytime you get into like mid 2000s Jagr, you have no idea what team he's going to be on.
Yeah, and plus I do like the red and blue color match. It would be. I want to see a Pittsburgh Penguins one, like maybe they'll do all-time jambalayas or something in one of these legend sets that we
SP Legends Jambalaya. Number 2, Troy, is Bobby Orr. His PSA 10 top 1 sold for $2,550 via eBay in January of 2022.
Really? This is a
lot of
10?
waiting.
Great picture though. Fantastic picture. I love that.
Yeah, great card. And number 1, not a shock, Wayne Gretzky, PSA 9, pop 3, none graded higher, sold for $4,800 via Heritage in February 2023. We were actually around at this point and did a top record sale post.
Yeah, and then we had a picture that this is the 10, right? Is this a 10? Oh no, that's the 9 again. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, there's no 10s.
Okay.
Only 3 PSA 9s. That's an awesome card.
Yeah, it's a great card.
Would love to have that. Probably wouldn't want to spend $5,000, but I doubt it would be that now. What do you think? Like 2,500, 3,000, something like that?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Depends on the day, maybe.
Just doesn't come off very often, obviously.
Mm-hmm. All right, you learned anything about jambalayas?
I did, and I actually. Do you get into it with Jean about the name that you told me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so listen to people are listening. They probably heard Jean. I thought that was really interesting on why it's called jambalaya. And
she said that in her mind, like, and at the time, they looked at designing cards as one and done. So in her and Earl's mind, the 97 basketball would be the only time that card was ever made. And so jambalaya is like jamming a basketball and is a basketball name. I had always kind of thought with the name and sort of the kind of the background that it was almost like a Mardi Gras kind of theme to it. But
so that's interesting. I need to listen to the interview now, because if you say like one and done, was she thinking like every card, like a Young Guns should have only been one and done, well,
she was at Fleer, and so they just she just didn't assume that they would ever want to make, like, there was no concept of a tribute design.
Yeah, that's
at
interesting.
that point.
That's
and
really
so she said that
after
her hiatus in the mid 2000s from designing cards, when she got back into it, that it was a surprise to her that there's so many tributes.
Interesting. Well,
that makes sense.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, got to make a quick mention for Gongshow, partner and sponsor Slab Sharks. We are, of course, very grateful for their support of our show. Reminder, the current Slab Sharks weekly eBay auction ends tonight. You won't want to miss out on the auction, as literally thousands of great hockey cards are there to choose from and bid on. Head to slabsharks.com for a link to the auction and place your bids. I'm likely going to be dual screening it tonight, so we're going to have on my TV with the Stanley Cup Finals. I'll have our Discord group, and then I'm going to have the Slab Sharks auction open, and it's going to be an amazing time.
Well, I know you're personally going to be going. Well, I just zoomed in on it. Where'd it go? Oh, I found the card you were looking for. The Taylor Swift. There's a Taylor Swift.
I'm a Swiftie.
There's a Taylor Swift cut auto that I can't
like
find now.
$75,000, I'm sure.
No, I don't know. It's something. I had it.
Gotta be.
No, I lost it. There it is. It's at 594 because it's out of Leaf and it's a cut auto. looks like it's part from like the album cover or something. But
Unlicensed Taylor Swift and Leaf there, or what? Slab Sharks has gotten pretty huge, Troy, and you might be wondering how. Well, they are the eBay consignor of choice for Gongshow, and we think most Canadian hockey card collectors because they make it so darn easy to sell your cards. You just don't have to do anything. You sit there, you watch the bids come in. They'll take top quality photos, complete the listings, answer any buyer questions from potential bidders, hunt down payment from the winners, ship to Canada and the US, and then most importantly, handle any post-sale issues that come up. So don't waste time. Head to slabsharks.com, sign up for their portal, download their app, and start consigning with them today. Hobby news.
Hobby news.
Hobby news. Okay. Now, did we decide if we're still doing this every show or?
I don't know. Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah. I
think you brought up the question, which is good. And then we had people chime in that they like it. So
yeah, people love it. Like they don't want us to stop. Can't stop, won't
Can't
stop.
stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Well, we're going to do it today at least. So last show, in our quest to track the rise of the Bedard base Young Guns PSA 10 pop count, we saw the total hit just under 3,500 at 3,497. I know you were devastated that it didn't get to the 3,500 mark. But now, Troy, we're just a few days later. You've probably barely slept out of sheer excitement to see where the number will be at today. I could be mean, I could drag it on, but we'll get right to it. It'll be nice. It's late. Troy has the most. As of the most recent PSA 10 population reports, I'm thrilled and honored to report that the what?
Bedard?
The Bedard. The Connor Bedard base Young Guns PSA 10 pop count is now officially at button bar drumroll, please. Button bar drumroll.
I haven't had time to upload any more sounds.
Well, Troy, it's at a whopping 3,559 PSA 10s. That is an increase of 62 since Monday.
Ah! Oh my god. Oh, sorry. There we go. The crowd's happy, or the crowd's excited. I mean, they're very excited about the Bedard PSA 10.
How many months are we going to have one sound effect?
Well, I got the breaking news one. Sorry, I just blew out everyone with headphones on. I apologize for that one.
Ooh, wow. Breaking news. That's exciting. This is a lot of progress, Troy.
Yeah, we're getting
okay. There. A total of 7,775 have been graded so far, putting the updated gem rate at 50 or 45.8%. Troy, we're now listing 100 PSA 10s
coming in
away from passing AM34.
Yep.
Whose PSA 10 pop count is 3,642. But you got to keep in mind, though, Troy, there's also 4,992 Matthews Young Guns BGS 9.5.
I thought of a great idea, but we can't even do it now. Like an April Fool's joke would be to do the BGS 9.5 count for the Bedard Young Guns, and it's at like what, 100, 200? I don't even know what it is.
Be more like the road to bankruptcy. Shots fired at BGS. Ouch. Well, Troy, we have some, I guess, sponsor news.
I guess.
To report.
Here, I did this too. We didn't have a picture, but here's a news article in case no one believes it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot to come up with a picture on this one. So rest in peace, PWCC. And I guess, hello, Fanatics Collect.
Yeah.
So there's a big announcement Tuesday from Fanatics regarding the future of PWCC for both the brand and the company. Later this summer, Troy, the PWCC brand will be retired and replaced with Fanatics Collect. PWCC Fanatics also announced they have partnered up with famed auction house Sotheby's and will start doing live online auctions for sports cards valued at $100,000 and above. Boy, that's crazy. Live auctions.
So let me take it. Is this like a whatnot kind of thing? Like whatnot, where you're going in and everyone's watching, bidding live? It's not like old way of we're used to auctions, right? It's running, people are bidding. It is that what they mean?
I don't think they're going to start at $1 though.
Yeah, I'm curious what they really mean by that. Like, because technically, isn't when an auction like is live on eBay, isn't it a live online auction? But I get now if they're live, I'm holding the card, I'm showing it, I'm doing all this, kind of like a whatnot thing where it's live video. Then I could see that's where I think they're going, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Good questions. Sotheby's will host these auctions. Not exactly, again, I'm not exactly sure what hosting means, but they'll be hosting them. And the first one is slated for this upcoming September in New York City. So why if it's a live online auction, why is it important that it's in New York City?
Is that Fanatics Collect Festival thing they're having?
That's in August, I think.
Oh, it's not. Okay. Oh, shoot.
I assume Sotheby's is. Look, I wonder if like there'll be people in person and then people online as well. Because have you ever watched like one of those, like, what do they go, the Barrett Jackson car auctions?
Yeah, I've seen the Barrett Jackson.
Or right, and then there's people like in the crowd like putting up their number, and then there's people on the phone, right, that are taking phone orders. So maybe that's how it'll work too. I don't know. Well, we got a quote, Troy, from Brian Wachter, head of modern collectibles at Sotheby's. He says, "We're thrilled to partner with Fanatics Collect to pioneer the evolution of trading card market to new heights. Through high-end auctions, state-of-the-art exhibitions, and exhilarating events, this collaboration marks a significant milestone within the ever-growing and engaged trading card community. We eagerly anticipate ushering promising collectors into an exciting new era of innovation and accessibility."
See, their chat GPT worked a lot better than ours.
Yeah, it's kind of like you didn't really say anything, and you typically don't when you get these quotes.
That's
right?
all marketing speak.
Yeah.
But thank you for sponsoring us.
So Fanatics Troy does plan to keep the weekly and premier auctions under the Fanatics Collect umbrella.
Well, thank God. What are we going to talk about if that goes away?
Well, hold on. There's going to be some new services.
Oh, here we go.
A reimagined buy now fixed price marketplace experience. Be interesting. I know that they've been unsatisfied with how the fixed price marketplace works, and because honestly, kind of the issue is due to the fact that they're also a vaulting service.
Yeah.
If you have, let's say, a $10,000 card vaulted with them, why not throw it in the fixed price marketplace for $40,000 and see if
someone buys or goes for it?
That doesn't make your fixed price marketplace all that attractive when you have cards with cockamamie pricing in them. So now here it gets a little bit interesting, Troy.
Okay.
Peer-to-peer trading.
Okay.
Yeah. Excited to see what that looks like. Very, very enticing there. Then, Troy, AI-powered concierge services. We know how fantastic AI is.
I'm going to tell it, go buy Gabricks, and it's going to buy like all of them in Ranger jerseys or something. Like the stuff I don't want.
Here's 11,000 Marian Hossa cards.
Yeah.
Said,
I love Hossa.
Marian Gabricks.
I want Hossa. Give me some Hossa cards.
What do you think AI-powered concierge services means?
Well, it's got to be, you got to ask it to do something. It's concierge. Like, it's like send me alerts when Marian Gabrick card is under $50 or something.
Does it make dinner reservations? Because that's what I've used concierge.
Well, I think about the Google phone stuff you can do. You can like have it call and it will sit on hold, and then it will finally bring you on when someone answers. But yeah, I'm wondering if you can set it up as a buying tool. That'd be kind of neat, and probably could go haywire. Because the minute I would do something, you would end up buying the whole PWCC website or Fanatics website, and now I'm in debt, millions of dollars.
Card scanning and identification. That sounds like they partnered with what are those, like Center Stage?
Center Stage is what I was thinking about. Card Ladder has it. Like you can do card scanning and Card Ladder, Center Stage. Yeah.
And then digital collectibles.
I hate those. I've tried to get into them. I just can't. Like the Upper Deck's done some of that stuff too.
I know that Panini does a lot and Topps does a lot of it too. So they probably do need a marketplace for that.
Yeah.
I understand. I don't. Well, I can't get into it either. But I understand though. It seems like it should be the future.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it is. I'm not sure if they've unlocked the. I kind of feel like the current state of digital collectibles are like laser discs, right? Where it's like cool, but are you really gonna get like a giant like movie player that plays discs that are the size of your kitchen table?
yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I do. You are right. Like digital seems like it's it's the way to go. But until all of us dinosaurs die out that like holding stuff and like having them in physical form, we'll see what happens.
Okay, Fairness and Conversation, of course, PWCC and Fanatics is a sponsor of our show. We did know this was coming, and we know they've been working on it for many, many months now. We haven't spoken directly with them about the announcement per se, but we're talking to them today, so we'll try to have more info for Monday's show to share with you all if there's anything important to talk about. Also, one of the things that makes sense, but that I did see a lot of people commenting about is that they took this announcement as the announcement that like PWCC had sold the Fanatics. Well, I think it's important to remember that this is a rebrand. The actual sale of the company happened more than a year ago.
Yeah.
And so PWCC has been a Fanatics company for a very long time. They just wanted to, I think, put some of these changes into effect before they did the brand switch. And so good to know there. And then I guess what I would say too, just from my opinion on it, glad to see that they're innovating.
Yeah.
I think that given all the stuff that happened in the past with the PWCC brand and how people feel about it, we weren't involved with them a number of years ago when all the eBay stuff happened. But of course that's lingered. And because that literally it's not the PWCC's, like we just said, been owned by Fanatics for a year.
Yeah.
As we know, it's basically entirely new people. It makes sense, I think, to go through a rebrand because it is a little, I think, unfair in a way to, I don't know if unfair is the right word, but to kind of assume that it's the same people that, you know, you might have had an opinion on from a number of years ago, and who knows what or what didn't happen there. Honestly, don't know. So, but to me, it makes sense to have a clean slate.
Yeah.
So excited to see what happens. And Fanatics, again, continues a lot of innovation in the hobby. Boy, I can tell you, I will be tuning in. We won't be bidding on $100,000 plus cards. But to see those sell live, like, I don't know. Maybe, like you said, if it is Whatnot style, would be pretty wild. Okay. Last story, Troy.
So good.
For about 2 hours this morning, I was a super happy camper. Reports had swirled everywhere that our Minnesota Wild were set to adopt a new color scheme for the 2025-26 season. Well, not exactly a new color scheme, but the bright green and yellow colors of our beloved Minnesota North Stars. Very similar to what we see in our current 78s retro jersey. Reports as well that these would be the official permanent new colors of the Minnesota Wild. So I had written a whole bunch of show notes ready to praise Wild leadership for making what I considered a brilliant move when it comes to branding. We've said this before, but all you have to do is go to a Wild game and you'll see literally like 70% of fans in the stands that are wearing jerseys are wearing the reverse retros. And I think, Troy, half the people that are wearing the quote unquote like normal team colors just bought their jersey like 2 months before the reverse retros came out and can't cost justify buying a new jersey, but would probably prefer having the reverse retro.
Yeah.
Well, my glee didn't last long. Minnesota Wild beat writer extraordinaire Michael Russo was very quick, Troy, to shut down all the hoopla.
Yeah.
So he said the Minnesota Wild does not have any plans to make permanent switch to the alternate uniforms for 2025-26. And then he says further, the Wild have no plans to rebrand. They do plan special things for the 25th anniversary season in 2025-26 to pay homage to their history, of course, keyword their history, which is kind of a shot at all of us people that can't let go of the North Stars, right?
I feel like they leaked this just to see what the reaction was. And now they're like, all right, well, people like it. Okay, good feedback. Now you're not getting it, but in 2 years, you'll get it.
Well, had I been running the Wild, which I probably should at some point, don't you think? even if this wasn't my idea, when this hit, the news hit, and everybody was so happy, I would have totally like just rolled with it.
Well, I
Pretended
have
it
no
was the
doubt
plan all along.
they're doing these jerseys. Like they'll wear them at some point
Yeah.
this year, a couple times. I have no doubt about that. I think it either got leaked or someone found out and then decided to go a little step further without knowing what was going on. And it's the internet, man. Stuff can run like crazy, and of course,
Yeah.
put a kibosh on it. But
Okay, but if the listeners and viewers, if you wouldn't mind indulging Troy and I just for like 90 seconds. So very disappointing. This news doesn't happen. That means we go back to our hokey Christmas colors.
Yes.
We also have a team name that literally isn't a thing. Troy, what is a wild? A team name has to be a noun. Like
it's a man bear pig. It's a man bear pig. It's like a combination of bear and I don't know, wolf and something else.
No, I looked it up. Wild is an adjective, which means that it describes a noun.
You're talking craziness now. We're talking English language.
I'm talking like grammar.
I know.
Like our team name should be something like Minnesota Wild Christmas Colors. Like that actually makes sense. That's proper grammar. So let's break it down, right? We have colors picked by the Ghost of Christmas Future.
Yep.
We're the only team in sports whose name isn't a name because its name is an adjective that describes something that doesn't exist. There's nothing for it. And then our logo, Troy, is basically scenery.
Yes.
So reclaiming our colors
would
have been it's scenery. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
Reclaiming our colors would have been a nice step in the right direction. It's not to be. What do you think of this whole kerfuffle?
Oh, it was fun while it lasted. I'm not mad. I'm not sad. I think it's going to come eventually. I think they're going to wear these jerseys next year a couple times, and then we'll see. I don't know. I bet they're getting, well, I guess the NHL technically owns all the team names and colors, right? And color palettes.
No, the teams do.
The teams do, because I'm wondering if there's some be a little issue
with the whole
Dallas.
Arizona thing. That was a sticking point when what's his face, the former or the owner of the Arizona Coyotes, because it still does exist. He wouldn't agree to sell the team name unless
yeah.
And it's the name, the logo, the colors, and the records is also. I don't know. It's just such a. I have never typed out more heart eyes emojis in my life than this morning, and I did for nothing.
Yeah.
No. Hopefully they come to their senses here. But all right, Trey, we got to move on.
Okay.
We're going to talk some Stanley Cup finals, winners and losers, ... so far. So our Stanley Cup finals are chugging along here. 2 games in. It's a time, Troy, when hobby stars can be made and markets can also crash.
Yeah.
The other way, too. So I guess how's that for drama, right? This is a setup. Since it could be over before we know it, maybe. Like, I don't know. Is the sweep going to happen? Don't know. I thought we should check in and look at the key hobby guys from each team, see what the effect of the first 2 games has had on their hobby markets. But before we dig into the data, do you have a guess at who would you say so far, if you had a guess from the hobby point of view, would be the big winner or big loser so far of the Stanley Cup Finals?
I would say Bobrovsky, just because he's played so well, but I have no idea what his cards are at. But speaking of Bobrovsky, just to go off the rails a little bit, did you see the person that put together like the AI interview with Bobrovsky?
No.
And it's hilarious because he's like, yeah, Stuart Skinner's terrible. That's why we won tonight. He can't stop anything. It looks just like he's saying he's like Connor McBust, can't do anything against me. And it's just great. But my bet would be Bobrovsky because he's played so well.
So in the pantheon of minor details that I spend way too much time on, for which nobody but me cares about, it took me a long time to find a picture of McDavid with the beard Band-Aid. I had to do that.
Whoa, what is going on here? What image did you send? Why is it zooming in on this?
Oh, I think I downloaded as a video file by accident.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, but he's got, you can see it. Beard bandage right there. Bottom right.
I think I was listening to Spit Chicklets, and like, I think Paul Bissonnette said he would rather have bled to death.
That's good.
Okay, so we're going to look at some of the players, see if they're winners or losers. Not going to look at an exhaustive list, but I did pick out 4 guys with a decent hobby following from each team to look at and see where their market values are at in the past, primarily the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with Bob, Troy.
Yep.
Sergei Bobrovsky.
Officer Bob.
20, 10, 11 Young Guns. PSA 10 popping just 106.
Yeah.
49% gem rate. Last sold for $175 in June 8th.
Okay.
But I think the 8th was before game 2. You'd think that would go for a little bit more now, if I had to guess. Even so, though, Troy, it's up 5% in the past 2 weeks, up 30% in the past month.
Yeah.
And one of Officer Bob's top 10 all-time sales did occur in the past month.
Okay.
So I would declare Bob a hobby winner to this point.
Okay.
Would you?
For sure. 30% in the past month. Go for it.
Here's my question for you. Let's say they win and they win convincingly. And in the process, Bobrovsky win because he's obviously the Conn Smythe favorite as of right now.
Yes.
So if he gets Stanley Cup, Conn Smythe, do you think that permanently knocks him up a notch or two in the kind of hobby goalie pecking order?
Not really. Because it's Russian,
tail end of his career.
Yeah, tail end of his career. It's a lot of stuff working against him. It would give him a little bump, but nothing like top hobby goalie chase or anything.
Next guy, Troy, is Matty Tkachuk, who's a 2016-17 Young Guns. His PSA 10 has a pop a lot bigger, 1,269, 61% gem rate. Last sold for $138 on June 11th. Right down 5% in the past 2 weeks and flat over the past month. So I went back even further, and it is up about 5% in the past 6 months. That being said, 2 of his all-time top 10 sales have been in the past month, so some higher-end stuff is moving. Now,
do you know what those were? Do you know if they're like cup cards or?
No.
Okay.
One was an employee PMG, and I think one might have been a Young Guns exclusive. So
okay, well, it makes sense.
Been pretty quiet scoring wise. Well, it hasn't been a ton of goals in the Cup finals. So here's my question: do you think we need like a couple big games from him where he puts up 2-3 points, that sort of thing, to see any market movement on him?
Well, yeah, he would definitely have to do something to see any movement. I don't. I don't even know what his playoff points are. Is he doing? It's obviously not last year, right? When he went bonkers. I'm trying to look it up while I talk, and I'm failing miserably. But yeah, he's definitely got to have point games to have it do anything, or else it probably just.
Well, none of the stars are really scoring in the first 2 games. Like you're getting Evan Rodriguez and
Sam Bennett. Is Bennett scoring?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's only got 5 goals in this playoffs.
Okay, let's say he doesn't score for the rest of the playoffs, but the Panthers do win. What happens to the Tkachuk hobby market then? He's kind of quiet Tkachuk, but Stanley Cup Tkachuk too.
Yeah, Florida Tkachuk versus Canada Tkachuk. I don't know. I think it probably sees a little bump, but nothing stupid crazy.
So now I was trying to figure out from my point of view if he's a hobby winner or loser. I think you can't call it at this point. It's to be determined. Right? He's basically flat.
Yeah. Hasn't
done much. Does have a couple big and high-end sales. And so too close to call, as the kids like to say. What do you think? You want to go out on a limb and?
No, he's a hobby TBD.
Hobby TBD. I like it. All right, the next guy, Sam Reinhart, 2014-15 Young Guns, PSA 10 pop 345, 72% gem rate. That's a big one. Last sold for $80 on June 9th. That's up 7% in the past 2 weeks, up 25% in the past month. 1 top 10 all-time sale in the past month. Of course, he was a 57 goal scorer in the regular season. Having a career year could add a Stanley Cup as the cherry on top. I would say hobby winner.
For sure, hobby winner.
Yeah.
I've actually heard about Sam Reinhart this year in the news and stuff. It's like you never heard of him before.
Okay, then the last Florida Panther would be Alexander Sasha Barkov.
Is he out? Is he injured?
I don't know. 2013-14 Young Guns PSA 10 has a pop of 303, 66% germ rate. Last sold for $247 US in June 11th. That's the 247 kind of surprises me. I feel that's a bigger number than I thought it would be. Up 13% in the past 2 weeks, up 35% in the past month. Troy, he's questionable for game 3 tonight after eating Leon Dreisaitl's forearm. I assume, did you see the play? Did you think it was dirty play?
I saw it. Totally dirty play. Like, if that happens in the regular season, Dreisaitl's
suspended for sure.
He's suspended for sure. It's the playoffs. They're not going to cripple Edmonton by taking him away, but that's one of those things that if I'm the Oilers coach, I would be furious over, because you need your top guys in the game worrying about it, not jumping up and elbowing people and almost getting kicked out or suspended. Let Evander Kane do that stuff. Let some of those guys lower down do that. I don't need Draisaitl. McDavid kind of stayed away from it, but he's getting in a couple good shots. But the thing you got to remember, he starts doing that, and those people load up on him, like slashing him and punching him in the face. I mean, these scrums have been nasty in this Florida Edmonton game.
Well, I saw somebody make the point too that nobody is defending McDavid. Like, he'll be scrumming with Tkachuk, and his teammates are just sitting there watching him. If that was Wayne Gretzky, the whole team would have been like sweating to get over there.
Someone's got to come in, and you wonder why that is. That's weird, because it's like people. Well, look at Marty McSorley. He was a protector of Gretzky for a long time. He would just come in and start throwing.
Okay. While Barkov's Young Guns is up pretty considerably, none of his top 10 sales all time have been in the past month. That could change, of course, if the Panthers continue to win or get it done. I would definitively say hobby winner so far for Barkov. What about you?
Agree 100%. He's looked awesome. Hopefully he's not out, but we'll see what happens tonight.
So 3 out of 4 winners, and then Matthew Tkachuk is a too close to call at this point. Okay, we're going to move over to the Edmonton Oilers. Now we get to see how that 0-2 start has impacted your Oilers team, Troy. We'll start with the obvious, Connie McDavid. McDavid is a 2015-16 Young Guns PSA 10 pop count 2,895, 47% germ rate, last sold for $2,376 US.
That's down. I know that's down, because this card we look at so dang much. It's like the one card I actually know the value of when we look at it.
Yeah, it's down 6% in the past 2 weeks, 3% in the past month. Here's how I think where it gets interesting. So I found a couple extra data points for this one. The 1 year high for this card is 3,720 versus the 1 year low is 2,150.
Josh,
so we're way closer to the low.
I was going to say, this isn't a math show, but if you subtract the high from the low, that's the range.
Oh. Is that like in golf, the driving range? Or what?
Range. Mode, median, range, average.
Stop. It's way too late. This is not the ACTs or SATs.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, so we're much closer to the 52-week low than the high. 0 of McDavid's top 10 all-time sales have been in the past month. Where he said after the game, he's looking forward to all the doubters.
Oh, shots fired.
Maybe add the hobby doubters to that list. We're still, I guess, early-ish in the series. I don't know. We'll see if we can lead the charge. Have you been following the whole hubbubaloo about the Panthers getting to Edmonton today?
No, what happened? Did they
haven't been able to get there because of weather and the fact it's like a 24-month flight that.
Well, I want to know. When they get there, how many fire alarms are going to be pulled in their hotel? Because the Edmonton fans are going to go nuts. Like, Edmonton has to win. Obviously, it's over if they lose 3-0. Yeah. I mean, it's done.
You think Border Patrol is going to mess with them?
Not let them in.
So I think we're assuming that if somehow the Oilers come back and win the Cup, we're going to see a big-time McDavid hobby bonanza, right?
Yes, I would believe
in that hypothetical.
So. Yes. Because then the story of the Cup and then the comeback would probably add a little bit to it, too.
So now getting back to the whole winner-loser thing, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not brave enough, Troy, but kind of barely slightly down. I'm kind of putting him in the Kachuk boat, where I think it's a little too close to call, veering slightly towards hobby loser for me at this point, but I need a little more time. Are you ready to be more bold?
I'm bold. I would say loser-ish.
Ooh.
So,
ouch. Remember, all hate mail care of Troy at Hockey Cards.
Oh, we've already got hate mail about this, so
just tear open that Eric Lindros letter you wrote and add Connor McDavid to it. Okay, we got to move on. Troy. Leon Draisaitl, 2014-15 young guys.
Leon Draisaitl.
PSA 10 is a pop 921, 58% gem rate, less sold for $700 in June 7th, up 5% in the past 2 weeks, up 9% in the past month. 0 of his top 10 all-time sales have occurred in the past month. So, Troy, just given the percentages,
yeah,
I'd have to call him a slight hobby winner for right now, but he's on shaky ground.
Yes.
He has not been good in the first 2 games of the series, or good enough. And he even said it himself after last game. That was a big quote. He said, "We all got to be better, starting with me." If they lose game 3 or get swept and he doesn't play good, I think there could be a bit of blowback. I would expect his stuff to go down a little bit. That being said, I'm a Leon fan. Would love to see him have a very big game 3. So where do you fall on this?
I mean, I hate what he did last game. I don't think it was him. I don't think it was something he needed to do to get going, but maybe for personal reasons, it was something I just think a lot of frustration boiled over into that play. Now, Edmonton's lucky he's not suspended. Good for him. I hope he goes big, because I want a 7-game series at least. I don't want a 4-0 blowout. So yes, we need Leon. But like you said, I like your analogy. He's kind of on shaky ground. I imagine it's like Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade. Remember, he had to jump on like the stones, and if you hit the wrong one, that just collapses and you fall down. He had to spell out I don't know what he had to spell out. Jehovah, maybe? I can't remember. That movie is. I love that movie, but I haven't watched it in a long time.
Is Leon too crabby to be like a hobby star? I feel like
he's just very strict. I mean, he's German, right? So he likes rules. We know our Germans; they like their rules. Yeah. And he does seem crabby, but I think that's probably just maybe his personality. And maybe he's not a crabby person. That's just how he comes off. But
yeah, maybe. All right, the next guy I want to highlight is Evan Bouchard, who's a 2018-19 Young Guns PSA 10 as a pop 492, 54% gem rate, last sold for $82 in June 11th, down 30% in the past 2 weeks, down 22% in the past month. So Troy, it had peaked at $145 in June 8th, but then subsequently has 3 consecutive sales all going lower. A little bit of a head scratcher here. He plays defense, of course, has only 28 points in 20 playoff games. I don't see those as very tankable numbers, if that's a word. But we got to stay true to the bit. I mean, he's a Cup Finals hobby loser so far, I would say. I mean, the market's voting, and they're not voting for Evan Bouchard right now.
He played so well, it probably spiked way higher than it should have, and now it's kind of coming back down.
Well, they have 1 goal in the series, and he did get an assist on the goal. So still very young, cannon for a shot, and I think has some decent long-term hobby potential. Well, do we save the best for last, Troy?
Oh, here he is.
The worst for last. Stewie Skins. Stuart Skinner. 2020-21 Young Guns. PSA 10 pop count 1,507. 75% gem rate. 75%. Holy moly. Last sold for $62 in June 11th. Up 5% in the past 2 weeks. Up 11% in the past month. None of his top 10 all-time sales have been in the last month. He's had a pretty uneven postseason that's been very well documented, but I think it has been pretty good so far in the Cup Finals. Clearly been outshined by Bob, but Bob's been unreal. I mean, can't live up to that. He's doesn't seem to be letting in the easy goals, but he's also, where he's not comparing to Bobrovsky's, he's not making that save he shouldn't. And that's probably the difference so far. He's a guy, Troy, that could easily end up being the hero or GOAT, and not the good kind of GOAT. by the end of the series. So I don't know. He's up. Do we call him a hobby winner or to be determined? Where do we put him?
Probably winner-ish. I'll go with that the other way.
Winner-ish?
He's winner-ish, but we'll see because
he's not the reason they're losing.
He's such a conundrum to me, dang it.
Yeah.
I want to like him so much because we've said this many times. He has some of the best flagship pictures on his cards. His Upper Deck flagship pictures are so good. They're always up close. The mask, usually, it's awesome. But
yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, there's 8 players who making moves in the Stanley Cup Finals. Now, the beautiful thing is by the end of the game tonight, this whole thing could be different, right? And it is. I do love that's the part I love about the playoffs is that things change on a dime, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. Okay, got to move on to new product releases. Well, Troy, now again, you were very busy today.
I did.
Did you see out of no?
Yeah,
once again, with zero notice, Upper Deck launched 2023-24 Series 2 on ePack. Well, yesterday now. I don't understand why they don't promote these at all. Like they tell us like a year in advance when a physical set comes out.
Yeah.
And then you have to wait for like some like Facebook group to find out that Series 2 is on ePack or something like that.
But
why do you think they do that?
I have no clue because we actually have seen press releases about certain like, and then
the EX 2001 set,
that
was like a week or two ago.
Well, this is very interesting to me. I don't know if you get into it. I know you're going to get into the pricing. I don't know if you get into like our group chat where we saw some people going crazy over a certain thing you'll see in this image, I think, on the screen. I don't know if you get into that at all, but
I don't have the notes, but we should definitely talk about it.
Okay.
Let's do the price first. So even more shocking than the bombshell of it just showing up on ePack is the price, Troy. Yes. $230 for a hobby box.
Yep, here you go. Right here. $230.
Now, at the time it dropped, I don't know in the last 12 hours what's happening.
Checked. This was from 1 hour ago.
Okay.
What you see on my screen?
Still $290
here
on David Adams. So it's $60 more on David Adams in the US than it is on ePack. This is where this gets really interesting because normally, as we know, Upper Deck almost always prices ePack releases more than or typical hobby boxes. Their point of view is they don't want to be seen as competitive to a local card shop.
Yep.
So if they sell it for $20 less, then the card shop can't say, well, people are not buying from us because they can get it cheaper on ePack.
Yeah.
So what's going on here? Why is it so cheaper? Are they justifying the lower cost by the Bedard 101 Gold that not being an ePack? As Billy Celio did tell us on this show that it would be in a physical hobby box. So maybe here's where we take a little time out and show. Now, if you're watching
sorry, it's not the clearest picture, but here it is.
There's a Bedard high gloss that has some obvious photo manipulation. I'm not saying intentional. Maybe it's a filter but that's not what it's got. A very gold background, which is not at all the background of the card is very white. And it gives some people are saying that it's too similar to like what the Gold All-Purse 101 could look like. Maybe giving people the impression that the Gold All-Purse 101 would in fact be on ePack. And if I was Upper Deck, I would fix that as soon as possible.
I would fix it, but there's no way in my mind does this even come close to representing what the Gold Outburst is. We've seen Gold Outburst. There's no background. It's like crazy, I don't know what you want to call it, tech deco stuff. Looks really cool. It is not this. It is not even close to this. So again, yes, not a fan of the tinting because we've looked at this card before, but no way would I think this is even close to the Gold Outburst. So that's just me.
Here's where I could maybe potentially, possibly, not that they need it. Like defend sort of the tint thing. So every day we do either first time public sales or record sales. So and when we do that, I find the card that's sold and then I copy it from the eBay sale or PWCC or wherever it's sold. And yeah, there's an example of the gold.
There's what a gold
101.
outburst looks like. I don't know, Young Guns.
And when I copy it into the design program we use to make those posts, oftentimes the tint is wrong and I have to use like an auto adjust or an adjusted. So it could be that maybe that happened copy and paste. But it's so bad that it seems like, how could that just be that? But then I also agree with you that it looks nothing like the Gold Outburst 2.
Here, I'm going to bring this up just so we can be fair. To be fair, there's the high gloss in a PSA holder. Did I delete it? Where'd it go?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
No, it's right here. So you see how that's really tinty? That's what the card
very
looks
much
like.
white.
The gold's all down here. Yeah.
It's not like we go to sleepovers at their houses, Troy, but I feel like we've gotten to know the people at Upper Deck pretty well, and I don't think they would do that intentionally. I
hope not. If they did, someone better fix it. Because I do agree.
Yeah, I would fix it.
Yeah.
Right away. Okay, but let's get back to the price though for a second.
Yeah.
So in my mind, they're saying that I can think of two potential reasons, maybe you have others, why they would price it so far less than it's selling at hobby shops. Maybe they're saying, well, because the 101 is not in here, then we can't charge as much. So we're going to.
They're not. That's tough because they don't actually say that. Well, you know what? Didn't someone say the odds actually show the 101?
I wonder if they have to put all the odds. I don't know.
They might have to I don't know. Well, I'm gonna be mind blown if the 101 is hit, the gold Outburst is hit ePack. I'm just like,
I can't do that.
I give up.
Can you imagine if you were a certified diamond dealer and you ate like case after case of crappy product that you couldn't sell, that you had to sell at a loss just to get Series 2 to find out that the 101 was pulled on ePack, you would lose your mind. I don't think Upper Deck would do that either. Now, here's where I put my tinfoil hat on. What do you think? So when they came up with the whole new configuration starting in Series 1, remember, Billy talked about that a big part of that was to keep costs at what they have traditionally been, in spite of all the rising costs of, product or materials and inflation and all that stuff, to keep the cost to the consumer about the same. And then we saw like crazy spikes in price. And so if you kind of read between the tea leaves, it seems like Upper Deck has kind of said, and this may not be the exact truth, this is just what we've been made to believe, that Upper Deck is probably making around the same amount of money they always do on these releases, but somebody is jacking the price way up. Now, I don't know if that's distributors or card shops, and so could the $230 be maybe a little bit of like an FU to those people and saying we don't agree that you doubled the box cost, so we're not going to sell it for $300 some. I don't know.
It's not.
What's your best guess?
Not out of the realm of possibility. I have no clue. I have zero clue. I just kind of saw this and I was like, knowing how ePack usually operates, I think you're onto two theories that could very well be true. Maybe they're both true, and I don't know. I would love to hear other people's opinions on this.
I don't think Upper Deck will ever come out.
No. They'll never say. They're never going to say, "Oh yeah, we decided to do it because this, and this." But we can speculate, I guess.
So there's always cascading effects to moves like this, right? It's sort of the downstream impact. So there's two that I'm really curious in. Yes. The first one is, and you had mentioned this and kind of put it in my head over the past couple of weeks in our little Road to Infinity bit. We're talking about, well, what happens now when Bedard Young Guns hit ePack, where we get, and now cheaper too, you would presume more are going to be opened, right? Yes. And we're going to see more and more Bedard Young Guns. ePack has that new integration with ComC, which integrates with PSA. So we could see a pretty decent spike in PSA 10 pop count
Yep.
as a result. And what does that do to the price of the Bedard Young Guns as more and more flood into the market? I don't think that's a recipe for it to go up, is the way I would put it. What do you think?
Are you talking about the price to go up?
I'm talking about the price of Bedard Young Guns.
Oh no, yeah, no. That's a negative on going up. I'm
Supply
curious. I'm curious with the pop count. Because I don't know what the turnaround time is. If I open a pack, right? Let's say today I open a pack or a hobby box and I get a Bedard, I go to send it to ComC, but then I have to go to ComC and say I want to send it to PSA. I don't know what the turnaround time is, but I think we're going to see a steady increase in the rate of the rate of the increase in Young Guns PSA 10 Bedards.
I would guess it's like in the 45 to 60 day range. I don't grade a lot. You don't grade a lot, so we're not really keen.
But now my Bedard PSA 10 can get me back my box cost right at $229 if I get it. Or sorry, I mean even the raw, right? Sorry, I'm way off on my pricing.
So what happens in our local card shops, right? Where we have David Adams at $290. I went to our local card shop and it was still like $320 there. If it's $230 on ePack, you can't sell it for $320 at a card shop, can you?
They gotta come down, I would think, unless you really want the base cards, because that's the thing you don't get with ePack.
As long as we're on cascading effects too, for the love of God, do you think maybe that this could lead to like paper coming down? It's still $190 for OPG paper.
Yep, it's depressing.
Or is Series 2 going to be less than paper at some point?
that would be nuts.
That would be a trip. Well, I wasn't as busy as you today, and I saw the 230 and bought my own personal box, Troy. We already did one pack opening video.
And I got the Bedard Young Guns Outburst Gold. Suckers.
Yeah, I can't share results because we saved them for the videos.
Pack openings, yeah.
I'll just say that my results rhyme with not schmate. Yeah. One other little note in new product releases, it looks like Extended Series was pushed back to June 26th. A little bit of a bummer there. Not sure. I didn't hear exactly why from anyone at UD or anything like that. If I had to guess, though, it probably has to do with the ePack release of Series 2 today.
I was just saying, someone forgot to tell them that ePack Series 2 was releasing today, and they're like, oh, God.
Would you doubt it if that was the case? I mean, we know how companies work, right? Bigger companies. And it wouldn't make sense to have this drop on ePack and then extend it at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that that's the reason. Okay, it's time for our weekly PWCC weekly hockey preview. I guess PWCC Fanatics. I don't know what we call it. We're like in this whole limbo thing right now. So PWCC and Fanatics Collect is a Gongshow partner and sponsor. We're thankful for their support. Very, very grateful for their support. While we covered all the exciting new changes coming soon, Troy, there's still a banger of a weekly auction happening this week. As we always do, we picked out our favorite vintage and modern cards to highlight, learn some more about. Sometimes we'll learn more about the players. Sometimes we learn more about the cards and the sets. It's a good time. We're going to start like we always do with our favorite vintage cards from this week. Now, I got a little bit of a disclaimer here. I'm sure you noticed this too. Not a lot of old cards in the... It's like there's a theme every week. And that's part of one of the things I really love about this auction is that it's never the same. From like, you can have a week where it's like every 1910 C56 or 1911 C55 set is in the auction. And then you go to a week like this where there's a lot of maybe like oddball type Gretzky stuff or more modern cards. And so we had to get a little bit liberal with the use of the term vintage.
I would like to also say on record, I think this is the first time all three of our vintages have been under $100 current bids.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Maybe ever. I'm pretty sure this is the first time. So I kind of like that. I dig that because now we can go to my price range.
Yeah, it's fun to see like the Gretzky rookie that's $11 billion. But
there's three cards right now that are, or no, four cards in the weekly right now that are over $4,100.
Wow.
So
Okay, well, let's get into vintage.
All right,
And so
all right,
my
go.
pick, kind of a sentimental one, but I picked the 1992 Stadium Club Members Choice Wayne Gretzky, card number 256, PSA 10. Yeah, mint, of course. At a PSA 10, the population is just 26, Troy. It's one of these Junk Wax era cards that it's kind of cool. I'm always, shocked how low the pop counts are actually on these. I know the comeback to that is everyone says, well, there's like 4,000 in everybody's basement. And they just don't think it's worth grading. So nobody sends them in. And that's why the pop is so low. But is it? I mean, at what it's like 32 years now. At what point are we going to say maybe there isn't like 1,200,000 PSA Gem Mint raw cards sitting in basements somewhere? I don't. Where do you fall in that? Are you like are you in like the basement camp that really the pop count could be huge?
Maybe I am a little bit, because I still am absolutely amazed at how many boxes of that stuff there is. Go to the expo, you'll find them still all over the place, and they never go away. They're always available, tons of boxes. So I do kind of fall into that, but I don't know if it's.
I'm not saying it's gonna be 26 forever, but I don't know if it'll be 4,000.
No, I don't agree. It's gonna go that high. Definitely don't agree with that.
I kind of mentioned this is a big nostalgia pick for me. I remember seeing cards like this and I was very smitten, Troy, with the gold foiling, which was pretty new around this time. And then you had like the members' choice on the front. And so the 15-year-old me in 1992 had no clue what that meant, first of all. But it seemed important. So I was probably, I know I was like all about it. Well, today I actually looked up what the significance of members' choice, that foil badge, is. And all I could find is that Topps thought these were like the preferred cards by the Stadium Club members. So, which is like code for best players, right? So the best players in the set had this members' choice. I don't know if there's like a vote or something like that. Couldn't find anything.
That's what I think of when I see
members only jacket.
Members only jacket, baby.
Yeah. And I still
love
think
Stadium. Well, I was gonna say I love Stadium Club because it's one of those like cool sets. Like it's like someone I don't know everything.
It's always known for its photography, right?
Yeah, photography, but you can you mailed in, right? You had to join the club, right? Didn't you have to have a membership and they would
I'll get into that, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Got some. Well, I think the other thing about Stadium Club is that the whole card is an image, right? They don't do like a lot of borders or graphics on it. They just have the Stadium Club badge, and it is weird to have the baseball park though and a hockey card, but
I didn't even notice that. Yeah, that is weird. Maybe they think it's arena or something.
In 1992, Troy, to be a part of the Stadium Club member, or to be a Stadium Club member, was either $30 or $25. This is US, with proof of purchase of 5 Stadium Club packs.
Okay.
$30 in 1992 was a lot of money. Doesn't that seem a little steep to you?
It does. Let's. What do you think it is in today's money?
I want to say 60.
It is $66.73.
So I think you got like a magazine, and there's some you got the members only. That was like your jacket, exclusive cards. Not sure if it was worth it at the time. So do you think that something like this would work today for like Upper Decker Topps to do like a member, like a $100 membership where you got exclusive cards?
Great question. I would say I bet it would work if they made it high end, super high end, but then you can't eclipse the cup, right? Because then the NHL comes involved. So maybe if it's second tier or like the second best set, I think they would actually probably make good money off of it. I bet people would join it.
Card itself, I think is a very nice looking card. Great picture of Wayne playing with the LA Kings at the time. Of course, we already mentioned Stadium Club's known for great photography. I believe this card lives up to the bill. I think if you're a Gretzky player run collector, player days collector, this would be a nice card to have. It certainly won't break the bank, as you've already kind of mentioned. Last sale just a few days ago, Troy, on June 11th, $30 for a PSA 10. Top 26.
Really?
Is there such a thing as too cheap in the hobby?
That is that's kind of nuts.
I think it should be worth more than, I mean, like $50 at least, I would think. But all-time high, 218 US in August of 2022. So big drop currently from its all-time high. You got a current bid?
It is currently $8 US.
Wow.
$8 US, Josh.
Ooh, a lot of money.
I'm
All
sorry.
right, you got the next one.
I do got the next one. I forgot a picture, so I'm like trying to get it open here pretty quick. All right, I got it. Okay, so here's my card right here. Josh, it's a 1985 Buster Triss. And now it says ESS. You can see on the slab there. I don't know what that means, and I couldn't figure it out. And it's got like, I don't think that's an eye. It looks almost like a pipe. Like, what is it? Yeah, there's like a command called a pipe. Buster Triss S, or maybe it's IS. I don't know. I couldn't figure out what that meant.
I don't know.
But it's a Pelle Lindbergh PSA 4, pop 1 of 2 with just 3 graded higher.
Can I say something, Trey?
Yes, you can say something.
This is the first time I've ever seen what Pelle Lindbergh looks like. Every other picture of him is at the white
helmet.
White helmet.
Yep. That's kind of cool. I do love this card. I will bid on it. We'll see. But I actually haven't seen this card. I didn't know about it, and it kind of piqued my interest. So I'm like, oh, Pelle Lindbergh, yes, please. Let's look into it. So the 1985 Buster Triss S hand cut is what I'm going with. I know we have people that listen in Sweden. Mm-hmm. Please let me know what I'm doing wrong on the name of the set or what it's about. But here's what I could find about this set. It's a Swedish product. Okay. So I'm going to bring over here this photo. And these cards were printed on the front cover of Buster magazine from issue 14 in 1985 through issue 18 in 1986. So if you're watching on YouTube, you see the Buster magazine. Here they are at the bottom. There's 3 on the cover.
Yep.
And they printed them. And that's where the cards were. And it kind of, the closest thing I could call is maybe the Sports Illustrated for kids that we had. But those were always inside. So I can see why these don't grade very high and why there's not a lot of them. Because they were probably on the front cover. You had to hand.
Oh, it got beat. It wasn't protected by
and you had to hand cut these suckers out. So, and I mean, they were intended to be cut out and collected. There's a card number and a biography in Swedish printed on the reverse. Here's the back of the Pelle Lindbergh, but it was a multi-sport set. There was athletes from a variety of sports in the set. And also, obviously, it being Swedish, a lot of the athletes were Swedish. But there are a pretty good amount of non-Swedish athletes. I mean, like John McEnroe, Edwin Moses, some guy I just saw real quick.
Okay.
Chris Evert, tennis player. But yeah, so it's not all Swedish people, but a lot of them were Swedish. And
Bjorn Borg was Swedish, right?
Bjorn Borg? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Is that your Swedish accent?
Well, okay, doesn't make me sound terrible. Everything I think is a Swedish accent, I think a Swedish chef from the Muppets. And he's like,
yeah.
Okay.
Now
we're gonna get actually someone's gonna create
canceled in Sweden.
No, someone in Sweden's gonna create some AI image of us as the Swedish chef, and one of us will be the American Eagle Muppet, and the other will be the Swedish chef.
Bjorn Borg is Swedish, by the way.
Okay, you looked it up. All right, here it is, the card. So it's graded PSA 4. I was trying to think, like, I'm guessing because doesn't it look? If you looked at this just without knowing the grade, I mean, it doesn't look like a PSA 4 to me. It looks actually pretty nice. Like centering looks pretty good. Yeah. I don't know what the top's supposed to be, but then I saw there is kind of a line. It looks like on his head here, like through his hair, and maybe that's it. But then, hand cut. I'm guessing this border, you can see it's a little thicker white over here and stuff. I'm guessing all that kind of adds up and makes it
the hand cut rule, right? That you actually have to show some of the border in order for it to grade. Like on the box bottoms, the Gretzky and that, a requirement to be graded by PSA is to have a little bit of that border showing to prove that it's a full width of the card. Yeah.
Okay. Does using a paper cutter count? Like, can I use a paper cutter if I had this?
Yeah, you just have to show that. Okay. So that's why the black border is around there. And not a fantastic hairdo for Pelle, I would say.
It's very 80s. Very 80s.
Mm-hmm.
But
like very like Scott Baio hair.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, but again, I think the picture looks pretty great. For the color looks good, and the edges look great. And I mean, they did a good job cutting it out, I would think. But who knows? PSA 4, so just be aware of that. Which again is a pop 1 or 2 with only 3 graded higher. So Pelle Lindbergh, we have talked about before a few times on our show. Absolute favorite, my favorite goalie growing up as a young kid. My all-time favorite hockey card is obviously his rookie card, which for some reason I decided not to put a picture on the screen. Apologize for that. But it's just, to me, one of the most iconic cards ever.
Why was he your favorite goalie?
You know why? I think it's because my mom liked him for some reason. Oh. And then I just gravitated towards him.
Mama's born.
Pelle Lindbergh. I liked the Flyers jerseys. I remember I liked the orange. Because
the contrast with his bright white mask and the Flyers jerseys was pretty cool.
Yeah. And I just always liked Pelle Lindbergh. He's like my favorite goalie ever. And so Lindbergh had a career record, 87 wins, 49 losses, 15 ties, 3.31 goals against average. Remember, this is the early 80s when they scored 1 billion goals a game. 0.887 save percentage, 7 shutouts, 157 NHL games played. He was the 1982 All-Rookie team. 1-time Vezina winner, 2-time All-Star Game selection. Most of our listeners probably know the story, but Lindbergh died on November 10th, 1985. 5 months after leading the Flyers to the Stanley Cup Finals and winning the Vezina Trophy. Lindbergh died in a car crash. When the car he was driving slammed into a wall, 2 passengers were also seriously injured. Lindbergh had left a team party at the Coliseum, which was the former practice facility for the Flyers in New Jersey. At the time, Lindbergh's blood alcohol content, or is that what it is? Concentration probably of his blood was 0.24, which was well over the limit of 0.10 in New Jersey. Truly tragic. Please don't drive drunk. This is just, I remember as a kid, this is like seared in my head when I heard he died. It was just like ruined my childhood. I'm like, your heroes can die. It's one of those moments where you're just like, oh, that sucks. But I was super young. Again, don't drink and drive, but that's the story of Pelle Lindbergh. Fantastic goalie, gone too soon. These cards do not sell very often at all. Most recent sales I could find was in 2023. Raw copies go for $5 to $20 US. A PSA 9 copy of this card did sell on June 1st of 2023 via eBay, verified in Terapeak for $225 US. Current bid on this card, $5 US.
Pretty cheap, Troy. Go get her.
Yeah, go get her done.
All right, last vintage card, and again, this is stretching it a bit. I hadn't seen it before though, so
I almost did this one, and then I saw you had it.
Really?
I was like, oh.
We did. I had to change one of mine because one of the ones you did, I was doing another player of that, and I thought it would be too weird if we. So I changed earlier today. Yeah. Don't worry about that. So this is the 1997 Studio, whatever that is. Card has Wayne Gretzky die cut out of 3,000. Card number 1, PSA 10 gem mint. So yeah, we're saying 1997 is vintage here. I guess. Were you familiar with the Studio hard hat set,
nope.
Troy?
I was not familiar with it at all until I looked at the auction.
Well, my first thought is, what the heck is Studio hard hats? And it was a Donruss brand, I guess. There's a Donruss logo if you look on the back of the card. So that gives it a little bit of, it's right there at the bottom left.
Oh, there we go. Bottom right or bottom left. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it says Donruss right there.
What is this guy doing? Again, I love creepy people in the background of cards. This guy, super creepy.
Oh, you don't see a lot of Wayne with 5 o'clock shadow like he's.
Oh, that is 5. Look at that.
Yeah, scruffy Gretzky there.
What do you think she's thinking about? No, never
mind. Probably scruffy Gretzky.
Scruffy Gretzky. All right.
The card is numbered at 3,000. It's kind of funny when you go back to the 90s and you look at a lot of these first numbered cards. They're really big serial numbers, like out of 10,000, out of 5,000, out of 3,000.
Well, when you print 50,000 of the other cards.
True. A PSA 10 pop count, though, Troy, is 23 out of 46 graded. That is, again, not a math show, but that is a 50% gem rate. Can figure smart enough to. I can't do the calculus you were doing around like mean, median, mode or whatever, but I can do that.
Nice.
So the card on the front features a smiling, kind of looks like a fake, like a smile for the picture, Wayne.
Like I'm going to punch you in the face after this photo because you surprised me.
Wayne in his Rangers uniform, his Rangers colored blue Jova helmet there, but kind of in a backdrop though of a white helmet. Not a interesting. I don't know if that was ever like look at all the like little windows in it.
I don't
Like,
remember
like,
any player wearing this helmet. Now, someone like I'll probably get told it was the almost like everyone wore this helmet in 1970 something or whatever. But
so there's an obvious like helmet tie-in
yeah,
to the card. It's also die cut at the top of the card as well, around the top of that white helmet. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's right. 'Cause that's why the back shows that really well. I didn't even realize that from the front, but yeah.
The 1997 studio hockey release, Hard Hats, is one of 5 insert sets. So this is an insert in 1997 studio. All 25 players on the checklist their cards are out of 3,000, and the cards are all die cut. So of those 25 players, some of the other notables are your favorite guy, Troy, Eric Lindros.
Mm-hmm.
Remember him?
Very fragile hard hat.
Paul Correa.
Also
Steve
a fragile hard hat.
Yeah. Steve Yzerman, Teemu Selanne, Joe Sakic, Pavel Bure, Yager, and Brett Hull.
What a great list.
Yeah, so a pretty good group out of 25. I'm definitely not a 90s insert historian, but I'd have to think at this point there weren't a ton of like numbered die cut Gretzky inserts at this point. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just feels like that this could be sort of like a maybe special in that regard. It's a little bit of an earlier insert that has some of those features. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this card? Do you like it? Is this something you'd like to own?
I like it from its kind of uniqueness, but I'm not sure what it's trying to convey. I don't get the hard hat sentiment. Am I a construction worker? Am I a tough guy? Because guess what? This guy on the card isn't known for being a tough guy. So obviously Lindros was, but the rest of them were not very known for being tough guys. So I'm curious what the hard hat, or is it just you work hard, bring your lunch pail, you go to work, all that.
Yeah, lunch pail kind of thing, maybe. I don't know. Again, if you're a Gretzky collector, and you'll find these don't exactly break the bank, and it's kind of a cool, interesting card, a good talking piece if you're at a trade night or something like that. Last sale of a 1997 studio Wayne Gretzky hard hats out of 3,000 PSA 10 was just $89, and it was this past February. All-time high, Troy, was only $118 US from September of 2022. So not as volatile, I guess, as some of the other ones have been. You got a current bid?
$18 US.
Oh, there we go. Okay, we're gonna move over to modern, and just 2 years later, all of a sudden, this is modern. Hey, it's our show. We get to make up the rules.
Yeah, we get to make up the rules.
1990 Upper Deck Century Legends buyback Gordie Howe auto out of 9, NBA authenticated because it's a raw card.
Yep.
So I just read the PWCC title, and there's technically an error in the title with this card.
Uh-oh.
So the card, Troy, is a 1999 Upper Deck Century Legends Gordie Howe. Everything is true. It also mentions it's a buyback, but it's not a 1999 buyback because the card was made in 1999. It's actually a 2003 UD buyback of a 1999 Century Legends Gordie Howe. The auto added afterwards, hand numbered to 9. So of course this card had me at hand number, Troy.
Yes.
I'm just a sucker for that. The card is numbered 7 out of 9. It does feature an on-card auto of Gordie with the Mr. Hockey inscription.
Yep.
So love the added element of this inscription as well. Interestingly, though, too, and this is, again, part of what was produced in 1999 with the set, on the front of the card, there's a big foil stamp in the lower right-hand corner that has a large number 3 on it from the Sporting News, as they had named Gordie the number 3 all-time player in their top 50 list that they came out with in 1999. So Gordie Howe was number 3, Wayne Gretzky was 1, Bobby Orr is 2, Howe 3, Mario Lemieux 4, and then Maurice Richard rounded out the top 5 that year in the Sporting News' list. So, Troy, do you think if they redid the top 5?
I was just thinking about that. Like, if they redid it today, like, well,
yeah, well, where would you put Bedard? Like 2, 3?
Yeah, no kidding. I've always wanted to see a list of we'll say top 20 NHL players by skill. So get rid of the cups. Get rid of all the hardware. Just go for skill. I wonder how that would.
Well, how do you define skill though? Like by points or by speed or
scout? All that scouts, not points. I would get rid of like just the most skillful players. Like to me, Connor McDavid is probably near the top of that list. Like he is just got all the tools. But I'd be curious what other people because.
Well, if you did a real re-ranking, Gretzky is going to be 1. I can still buy Aura 2. I think a lot of people might today put Lemieux 4, and then Howe, or
3.
Lemieux 3, and then Howe 4,
yeah.
and then Richard. I'm actually a huge Maurice Richard fan. I'm not sure though that's still the 5th greatest player.
This is where you get in the whole era debate. Like if you, like even Gretzky said it. Players today would walk around him and everyone he played with in the 80s.
Sure.
Like they would just go crazy, like because the training, the nutrition, all that stuff is just miles beyond. They're not smoking heaters in the locker room before.
Even like Lemieux was, right?
Yeah, Lemieux did for sure. Bossy, Lafleur, a lot of those guys.
The condition of this card, there are some issues. There's some corner edge wear. I think especially like the lower left corner. I want to say if you zoom in, a little bit of whiting there. So it's definitely not a 10. Also interesting too, in the 1999 Century Legends set, there were also autoed cards. So there are 2 on-card auto sets that did include Gordie Howe autos. There's the Epic Signatures, and then an Epic Signatures Gold out of 100. Neither of those, though, did have the Mr. Hockey inscription. So it was interesting, though, that they took a set that already had autos and then took the base card essentially and used it for the buyback. Out of 9, though, so it's pretty tough, right? Not a lot of them. That being said, too, Troy, none of the 9 copies of this card have ever sold publicly. So this will be the first public sale.
Cool. Yeah.
Now, one of the Epic Signatures Gold out of 100 did sell for $450 US in April 2022. That was the all-time high sale for that card. So I mean, it's always tough to peg these in these cases. It's a cool card. Of course, to me, the biggest draw is that there will be no more new on-card autos for Gordie Howe. And so it's a scarce and limited. I know he did sign a lot, but
he signed a lot. Yeah. That's how he made money.
Yeah. Still.
I love that.
Do you like this card?
I do. I love that it has the inscription. I was trying to think. The one thing I wish wasn't on, or wish was smaller, was the foiling, this big 3. I wish that was smaller. Move this stuff over. Give him more room at the bottom to do the autograph. But yeah, I love this. I just, it seems like a card that you might be able to get to get a Gordie Howe auto inscribed. It seems like it might go for a little bit less than what you would think.
I mean, I'm going to guess like $400 to $500.
Yeah.
Is that a good range, do you think?
I think so, for sure.
You got a current bid?
$52 US.
Okay, you got the next one.
I do. So you were going to do another one from this set?
I was going to do the Patrick Waugh.
Okay. Yeah, so it's 1999 Topps Gold Label, Class 1, Martin Brodeur, PSA 10, pop 1 of 3. And I'm going to be honest, I was scrolling through all the cards, and I just saw this one. I don't know what it was. The images, the gold, probably a combination. The old Heaton pads. Come on. I mean, and I just was like, yep, I'm doing this card because Hall of Fame goalie. I think this card looks so cool. It's kind of like your Topps Stadium Clubs. Full picture, but it's actually got 2 pictures.
How many cards have 2 pictures of the same player?
Yeah, you don't see that very often. And I kind of dig it with different color, different jerseys. He even got different pads on, which is cool because these have the red on the outside. These have black. And do you
remember there's a couple of music videos back in the MTV days where there was like members of the band and like they were facing different directions, but like one was higher elevated than the other, and they were like singing. These cards remind me of that for some reason.
Oh, I just love the look of this card. And so it's 1999 Topps Gold Label hockey. So it's a Class 1. So Class 1 is basically the base set. Then there are Class 2 and Class 3 parallel sets. There's a number of parallel sets, each for Class 2 and 3 as well. for those, right? There's red, black,
Yeah.
and 101s, and then 101 reds. I remember looking at that. I got so confused. I'm just like,
I had tried it because you had like baseball emergency. So
Yeah.
this is the one thing where you needed help. And I tried
Yeah.
to help you out a little bit. So breaking the fourth wall here a little bit, Troy. I was so confused.
I know. I was
that-
too.
I mean, is this like the new? Is this stature before stature existed?
Yeah, no
There's
kidding.
like
This was
so many parallels that I don't know.
Yeah, some are numbered, some are not. And then if you find overviews of people writing about this, they are basically all say, we have no clue what's going on with these. Like with all these, oh man. It's like, yeah, you're 100% right. It's gold label with stature before stature. And a distinction that does exist, though, between class 1, 2, and 3 is that they are different player photos for each. So at least you got that going for you. Which is kind of like stature, right? You have your photo variant, your design variant, your photo and design variant. It also lists which class the card is from on the back. I can't remember. Did I put that? No, I did not. There's Logan Cooley. I thought I put that image in there.
It's a very small type on the back, but that is nice touch though, because maybe it was an acknowledgement to how confusing it was.
Can I go out of soapbox again? Please, please, please start putting every set. I want the name of the card on the back of it. Just please, help us all. Help us all. All right. Only one sale that we could find for a 1999 Topps gold label Martin Brodeur Class 1 PSA 10. And it was $51 US in July of 2022. That is also the all-time high. Current bid on this card is $26 US. Man, you can't say we didn't find some affordable cards this time. There's the next one's not. I mean, there's nothing that should be thousands upon thousands of dollars this release or this.
But this is not a $50 card. Like there's no way in this week's auction that this doesn't sell for $100.
Oh yeah. Agree.
This card is awesome.
Yeah,
these gold labels are, although incredibly confusing, very cool.
Yes.
All right, the last card we got to feature is a 2023 SP Game Used jersey. Logan Cooley rookie patch auto. Is it again PWCC? It's a rookie patch jersey.
Yeah,
rookie jersey auto.
Rookie
jersey patch. Yeah, we got to get the patch out of there. It's out of 49. It is NBA authenticated. I just wanted to talk about our guy Logan Cooley. So I picked this card. He's of course a Golden Gopher, which we always say row the boat, Skyuma, and go Gophers. Pretty decent season playing down in Mullet Arena, Troy, for the Yotes. He had 20 goals, 24 assists for 44 points in 82 games played. There was not 84 games. 82 games.
Well, if he got traded, maybe he could have got 84.
Yeah, true. Half a point per game for rookie is pretty decent for our guy Logan Cooley. The year prior to his rookie, he scored 22 goals, totaled 60 points in 39 games played for the Gophers, so that was pretty good too. Then he went number 3 overall to Arizona. Basically started last season right away with the team. Still very young, 20 years old. And I think should give the Utah, are we calling it the Yetis, do we think? The Outlaws, the Hockey Club?
Well, Hockey Club for now, and then I think the Yetis eventually.
Should be a nice building block for them to start their new franchise around. Cooley's Young Guns will be an extended series, which is not out yet. We're thinking the 26th now. So I think if you factor that his Young Guns hasn't come out and the whole Arizona thing, maybe kept him under the hobby radar a little bit. I don't know. Now, the back of the card is the new Upper Deck Vague. Troyan says memorabilia. Does not distinguish if the mem piece is a jersey or a patch. It is a little confusing because it's 2-color, but I think it's definitely a jersey. There's no stitching in there that would, or elevation that would indicate that it's a patch. Still, though, I mean, anytime you get a 2-color jersey, it's pretty cool. It's also a sticker auto. Now, I don't know about you, but this was my first time evaluating the Logan Cooley signature. What's your review of his signature?
Absolute garbage.
Yeah, it's a little scribbly.
I know we're such babies about this stuff, but I wish people cared about their auto. I really do. Like, this is it's absolute garbage. You can tell this. I mean, and I get it also. They signed thousands of these. So this is what it's come down to. It's just like the L and then I'll scribble the rest. But I wish it could be, it looked better, but I get it.
Got a mosquito in front of me.
Welcome to
Escape
Minnesota,
bird,
everyone. This is what we
Yeah.
deal with. Mosquitoes everywhere.
The card itself is has some wear on it. It's not perfect like any SP game use.
Yeah.
Again, the corners, a little bit of whiting,
Yep.
some
bottom left
edge
for sure, right.
issues. Haven't been any sales of this card yet, Troy. It's the Authentic Rookies Jersey Auto out of 49. Now there is a different set in SP Game Use. It has a patch auto. I think it's inked sweaters. That's out of 49 as well. That's sold
Okay.
raw for $200 back on April 15th. So I assume this will go for 100, 125, 140 bucks, something like that. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Logan Cooley's first year in the NHL?
No, I love it. I mean, half a point, good. Like something to build on. Little pedigree building right there. I'm glad he was a gopher. He's doing well. Hopefully, he can succeed once they move to Utah and get that going. But yeah, I like Logan Cooley. I've always liked him at the U. So
I really want him to do well because I want
yeah.
to be able to mentally justify having a little Logan Cooley Golden Gopher side PC and not have him. I hate when my PCs are players that have disappointed me.
Yeah, and you just sit there and look at it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. You got a current bid?
$46 US.
Pretty strong.
Pretty strong.
Well, Troy, you need personal pickups?
I don't have any that I haven't already talked about, but they're starting to come in the mail. So they're starting to show up here. There's a Gabrick. This is the
nice.
one. This is the infamous Gabrick that took
4
weeks to get from Canada and went through like 8 different distribution centers, but it got here. It's a stick and move out of 35.
Did it take longer to get to your house than it'll take the Florida Panthers today to get to Edmonton?
I think so. And then this one came. Is this the away jersey? Signature unis away. I also got the home coming, and it just fell out.
Mosquito was biting my back.
And I got this one too in the mail finally. The chronology.
I like that one.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Silver Incado.
And hold on, I bought another one today. It was another chronology that was. I know I go through like everyone. We all have our 8,000 saved searches on eBay, and this one I must have went through and came through. I'm gonna hold it up. Since if you haven't noticed, people, I did get a new camera. I apologize, the lighting's still a little off, but this should look a little better. There's my ring light, you can see. But that one I bought today on eBay.
You've kind of gone from zero to really nice Gabrick PC in about a month, dude.
And I've actually been really picky too. Like I'm not out buying every single Gabrick, or even every auto Gabrick. I have to really like the auto. I don't want any there's some that are garbage. They're like scribbly, look terrible. You could tell there was a point in his life when he was kind of sick of signing autos, and they have to be wild. I'm not interested in like the Kings or Columbus or anything like that. But yeah, so they're starting to come in that I've bought recently.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
Where are you at with Pekka these days? Because I feel like when I'm searching for my stuff, I keep sending you really sweet Pekka cards and you're a little ho-hum on the bit.
Yeah, I like my Pekka right now as I want autos, patches.
Oh, autos. Okay.
But I did last show. Was that the one with me and Phil? No, Phil was on with us. I ordered the Pekka or bought it. The retro 90, was it one design from 2003?
Oh yeah, that's a nice one.
So that one's coming. I got that. No, I've been just being really, really picky on Pekkas.
Gotcha. Okay, good to know. All right, I had 4 personal pickups. So
nice.
I picked up another Ultra team from ComC, Troy. Got the Leon Draisaitl, and of course I have the Midas Touch because he completely stinks in the Stanley Cup Finals. Again, these are like really, really tough inserts.
Yeah.
Taking a gamble because it's the stock photo from ComC.
That was a weird word coming out.
Yeah, it was weird. I stopped it. So hopefully it looks good. Still can't. So I have Kaprizov and Draisaitl now, kind of my 2 main guys. Excited about that. Then I picked up this 1998 Bauman's Best Teemu Selanne refractor.
That's awesome.
Very excited about that.
Look at I like the Ducks emblem, the old school.
Yeah.
Which
they're bringing that back, right?
Yeah, it's like they're bringing that back. I think I just saw something about that.
Okay. Then for me, the last one I got, I'm very excited about this one. a 2013-14 Panini Prism Pavel Datsyuk red Pulsar Prism. It's raw. Got it on ComC. This is the dumpy, garbagey ComC picture. And
So
this card
bad.
is so nice that
So bad.
I couldn't even stand showing it, even though this is the card I bought. So I went and found a different one that actually I think reflects the card.
Yes.
Isn't that so much better?
How can ComC operate in today's environment with these dumpy pictures? Do
It
they
doesn't
not
make
look
you want to buy the. It
I
costs.
know.
This card would go for $10 more on ComC if it had a better picture. Because this looks like garbage.
Fanatics buy ComC or something.
I'm
Something
sure
with them.
So again, really excited to get this one in. And then lastly, Troy, actually, this is a hockey card show, I know, but I picked up a soccer card.
Uh-oh.
Not for me.
Uh-oh.
My daughter, who I love very dearly, has developed a passion for. Do you know that she's playing on the soccer team this year?
I had no clue. I saw this and I was like, new to me. But now, okay, you're gonna talk. I'm gonna go off screen for a sec, but you keep talking because I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so she has been really infatuated with soccer over the last couple years. Particularly loves Cristiano Ronaldo, and so I traded some hockey cards on my card post. Love doing trades on my card post, of course, and picked up, to be nice, a 2021 Topps Deco, whatever that is. I know nothing about soccer sets. So Topps UCL. What is UCL? Is that something Champions League?
Probably.
United Champions League? I don't know.
It's
a Ronaldo card.
No, UEFA. It's got to be UEFA.
Oh, okay. Ooh, still this mosquito still hovering around me. Yeah, UEFA Champions League. It's out of 49. She doesn't care. It's just a card of Ronaldo. So that'll make me happy. And if you can make your daughter smile, nothing better than that.
Yeah. So here's the deal. I'm gonna give you this for her. I have this one. It's a Cristiano Ronaldo. Must be a blue something or other. I have that one. She can have that. She can't have this one. This is a gold copy of the same card. But so I got two of those. But this was I believe I was in a break with Special.
Oh yeah, Special one.
Yeah, Special one cards. Awesome soccer guy.
He's got a good soccer podcast and hockey, but you should listen to his soccer podcast for sure. You have to come here and listen to her. She will blow your mind. Like I'm telling you, like she knows the bit. Like she can tell you all the soccer players, their whole history, what team they're on. She has opinions about different like Premier League teams. And I knew none of this, Troy, until the other day. And she was like, tell me about all these players that I know nothing about. And so
can we say that you failed as a hockey father?
She still plays hockey too, but she's not. She's way more into soccer, and she's going into 10th grade. Yeah. And so I give her a lot of credit for picking up a new sport in the 10th grade, and they've started their off-season training program these last couple of days, and it takes a lot of guts to go and start to do drills with girls that have been playing for 12 years, and it's like, hi, this is day one.
Soccer is one of the best like conditioning sports ever to get in shape. I never played like a fall. Is it a fall sport here?
Yes.
I remember because I played football for a little while. Obviously, I played hockey and I played baseball. Those were my two main sports. But I never played in high school a fall sport. And I always regretted not playing soccer, even just for fun, like get in shape and stuff.
Well, Troy.
All right. Enough of soccer, hockey, or soccer cards gong show.
Whatever that is. If you like the episode, please leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, you want to support with us, you want to hang out with us in the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server, maybe tonight, Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals, please consider a $5 a month donation. Join our $1.99 support level tier on Patreon. Link is in the show description, both in our podcast apps and in YouTube, in our Instagram, TikTok profiles. So you can get to a link on our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, or just go to the Patreon website directly, Patreon, and search for Hockey Cards Gongshow. We're on social media. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And Troy, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a production of Dollar Box Ventures, LLC. I can't wait again to listen to you and Phil on Monday's show. And then I'll be back next Thursday. See you guys then.